What's up, y'all? Peace. Let me shift my lighting situation here because I'm looking a little. Let me turn this. Wait, let me plug it up first. My Ring camera. How y'all doing? I have the natural light sitting here in front of me, which is why I have my computer sitting where it is. But sometimes well, it's not all the way open, so maybe that's what it is. So let's just turn on this Ring camera situation and help us out a little something, you know. Better? All right, cool. What's good? Peace. How y'all doing? Today is Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. I pray this message reaches you all in the best of health, spirit, and mind. So let's see. I'm officially starting at the 8-minute mark, but I wanted to go live and give it a minute to let the audience start to percolate, which is interesting enough because I was just listening to Carlos Rossi by E40. And I do know the whole song. I can rap it from beginning to end. Speaking of percolating, you know. But yeah, shout out to E40. He did a show recently at SeaWorld that was hella like turned up. I actually wanted to be there. I don't know about SeaWorld though, but that's a whole nother story for another time. I don't like how they treat the animals, so I have issues with them. But you would never expect for a concert at a venue like SeaWorld to be that turned up. But yeah, I'm turned up today. I ain't even gonna lie. That's why I had certain music playing in the background, because anytime I feel the devil in close proximity to me, that shit makes the fire in my belly be exaggerated and exasperated in every possible way, shape, form, or function. And I see the devil and have seen the devil, and I saw his ass and her ass and their asses, the minions of Satan, come up in all of our living rooms in 2020. Before I could even prove it, I already knew what was going on. Unbeknownst to me, I was talking about the technology that they put into 70% of the people in the world's bodies in my book, Black Matters, Scientific Intervention in Our Affairs, which I will be referencing today. But let me not get ahead of myself. Thank you so much, Yaya, for the Cash App. I came to turn on my video and go live, and then I see that my sis showed me some love. She said for YouTube live showing love. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for supporting me. I can tell you in no uncertain terms, this video is not going to be able to be monetized. Let me move this current, take that comment down. This video is not going to be monetized. It is a high probability that they might even take it down. If they do, it's all good. I will just put the whole thing up on my channel, my website, and then I'll just do a 30-second video and tell you guys where to go and watch it. One thing I did learn from 2020 through 2024 is that in this digital world and in these internet streets, especially if you are speaking truth, if you are focused on, thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you so much. And you always support me, so much love for the Cash App. One thing I learned is that you have to have your own platform. So I can't be canceled. I think I've verified and proven that. And you can't silence me. They did censor me heavily, though, and I'm going to get into that in just a second, but I want to make sure that I make these announcements. But this video is not going to be monetized. I can guarantee you, even if you see a commercial while you're watching it live, because I'm going to get into some stuff. I've been handling this subject with kid gloves, especially on YouTube, because I understand the dynamics of, you can only say so much on their platforms. But I'm going to take one for the team today. And I'm going to really get into the research that I've been doing for the last 6 years. Plus, because like I said, Black Matters was written in 2015, and I didn't even realize that I was looking into the technology that would later be put into the arms of 70% of the human population. So we're talking about 70% of 8 billion people. And when I get into the nitty-gritty of this subject, It's highly likely that the lioness energy, you know what I mean? Like this shit, I've been triggered. I got to turn my frequency music on to help me stay calm, because I've been triggered in these last couple of weeks since this whole thing with this Fauci and these hearings and all this stuff, these people playing in our faces. I've been triggered, right? For intelligent, well-rounded thinkers, people who think, which we are becoming a minority on our planet. We are a minority, but the numbers are increasing by day. For the people who have spiritual discernment, for the people who know what wickedness and evil looks and feels like. I'm triggered. I'm not even going to lie. So full-blown Daenerys Targaryen is a possibility today. I just got to keep it a buck. So for those of you guys who tune in for the lovely metaphysics, spiritual, kind and gentle Zaza Ali, you want to hear me talk about love and light, this is not going to be that conversation. I can tell you right now. I am going to analyze this from a spiritual perspective, because we are in a spiritual war. And nowhere did that become more apparent than 2020, when the people that we loved and the people that we thought were intelligent and the people who have degrees and the people who are in politics, every facet of human society, y'all failed us. And I feel some type of way about it. And I paid a heavy price. So let me calm down. Let me turn on some frequency music, because I'm on one today. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be one for the ages. The devil stepped in all of our rooms, showed his face, came from behind the curtain. And most of us didn't even recognize his ass, her ass. I'm not making this gender specific. I have to be clear on that. Satan is a frequency. The devil is a frequency. Just like when I say the chosen ones choose themselves, we're talking about a frequency, a bandwidth of consciousness. I need some frequency music to level me out, because I'm telling you, I'm on one. I have my speaker on, my Bluetooth speaker in the background, so that the sound is not too close to me. So let me know how my sound is in the background. If you frequency, energy, and music to keep me balanced in my perspective. How is my sound? And again, this video, this conversation is not going to be monetized, so I'm taking one for the team. So Cash App, Super Chat, Super Stickers, all the things are greatly appreciated. One thing I would like to offer you guys, for in the sake of reciprocity, because I always prefer to give something in return. My Ancient People ebook is available. It's 111 pages. You shoot me a Cash App for $15 for the cost of that, and then you put your email address in the subject. I feel like that's a mutual giving and receiving, along with me taking one for the team today. Send $15 via Cash App, put your email address in the subject, and I will get that to you within 24 hours. You can print it. You can print multiple copies. You can give it to people in your family. You can read it. You can give it to people in the community, young people in the community. Age recommendation is 14 and up, but this is a grown-up book, right? So yeah, that would be beautiful if you guys would support me and reciprocate in that manner. My next book club meeting for my YouTube and membership members is August the 15th, Saturday, August the 15th. Ask Me Anything is always open for members. If you guys have any questions, you want me to do a deep dive, you're going to see my research on full display today, right? So those of you guys who have been rocking with me for a long time know I do not play when it comes to my research, and we'll get into that in just a second. 50% off my one-on-one consultations. The link is in the description for that. August 2026 is the last timeline that you'll be able to book a one-on-one consultation with me ever, because I understand the time that we're living in right now. I know that starting this winter and moving forward, all the people who haven't done the work, all the people who haven't been serious about themselves and serious about taking their life and their health and their well-being and their goals and aspirations serious, are going to start flocking to people who hold a certain bandwidth of consciousness. And unfortunately, when you are dealing with somebody who is drowning, and that's that has to be put in context, because you're not always drowning. Sometimes you just need a leg up, right? But that tends to, weigh heavy on the other person on the side of that equation. I just don't have the bandwidth for that anymore. I'll still be offering my programs. I'll be relaunching that in January, but one-on-one consultations, August 2026, will be the last time to be able to speak with me or do a video consultation with me. So take advantage of it now. And I'm offering it for 50% off. Design Your Life, August 23rd is going to be our first class. The link is in the description for that, our first town hall meeting. And all of the things, I'm going to repeat this during the course of this conversation to make sure that we're all on the same page. And yeah, so that's where we're at right now. So before I get into it, because I got a lot to cover, right? Let me tap in with you guys in the chat room. I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm originally from Oakland, California. I asked you guys to tap in and let me know where you're from. So just for anybody who may not be familiar, I'm originally from Oakland, California. I lived in Atlanta for 5 years. I was actually in Atlanta during the pandemic, during the first 2 years of it. And I've been here in LA for 5 years. So I've kind of lived in different places and experienced different aspects of, American life, American culture, Black culture, all of the things. And I also have a very keen perspective when it comes to the things that I'm going to talk about because of all three of those places that I've lived in. Oakland was the inspiration for the scientific intervention in our affairs because I was trying to figure out where crack cocaine came from. I was trying to figure out how my city went from a beautiful, pro-Black, highly intellectual mecca of Black culture and consciousness to being decimated by crack cocaine, including half of my family, right? So I was the 10-year-old and the 11-year-old and the 12-year-old that had to deal with my sister and my auntie and my uncles breaking in our house and stealing shit out of our household. This is when I realized that the devil is a wise scientist. When I started researching for this book, right? So this is available on my website. It's also available on Amazon. This as well as Plagues of Dysfunction. I've got over 100 reviews on Amazon for this book. This was the precipice and the launch pad for me to get on my scientific, what's the word I'm looking for? On my scientific square. And one of the passages I'm going to read in this book is referencing the fact that our people do not respect science. We are not tapped in, tuned in, serious enough, focused enough when it comes to science. And this is one of the major reasons why 70% of our people took that Jim Jones juice. And I know a lot of us think that Black people didn't fall for the okie doke, but I guarantee you, I can assure you that a lot of Black people took that shot. Many of them are not here with us anymore. Thank you, Edmund. I got you. And I'll send you the link to download your copy of Ancient People. Much love. So these are two of the books that I'm going to be referencing. I'm going to be using The Scientific Intervention in Our Affairs, which is my book, self-published in 2015. I'm going to be referencing Under an Ionized Sky, as well as Geoengineered Transhumanism by Ilana Freeland. And I'm also going to be referencing many other great minds and scientists like I always do, which is something that I hope that you guys value and appreciate, is that I'm not just coming here and make it seem like I know it all. No, I'm serious about my research. In 2022, at the end of 2022, I did a series called the Kingdom Within web series. I had it available for free on my website. And then I took it down because I had to start thinking about the business aspect of promoting my book. I'm trying to get it in schools and whatnot. And, first thing you see when you go to my website, you know what I mean? Like, I got to play this in a particular way, especially because I know what they're capable of in terms of the censorship. But if you want to watch the full 3-part series, just shoot me an email, info@zazaali.com, and I'll send you the link. The only reason why I didn't post the link in this in the description is because I'm trying to keep my digital footprint small. Let me tell you guys this real quick. And just bear with me because we got a lot of ground to cover. And I did so much research in that series. This was a 7-hour and 10-minute lecture that I did. I rented an Airbnb in San Francisco, South San Francisco. And I recorded this because at the time I was back home visiting and I didn't want to be anywhere where I was going to be interrupted. I wanted to zone out. This is like years of research at this point that I had put together. I had like 70, somewhere around 70 slides or something like that. I was in mad scientist mode. I'm not gonna front. So I'm thinking, okay, 3.5 hours, I can sit down, I can get this done. Well, it ended up being 7 hours and 10 minutes. And in the halfway through, I was like, wait, I've been talking for 3.5 hours. And in my mind, I was like, all right, I'm just going to do half now, and then I'm going to stop it, and then I'll go and do a part 2. And immediately my brain was like, hell nah, we're not doing that. We're going to get this all out. We're going to lay it all out on the line today. So 7 hours and 10 minutes, your girl sat down and put together a body of work and information that I'm going to share some of this with you guys. But I'm emphasizing this because I need y'all to understand. I'm not just a talking head on YouTube. I don't give a shit about being an influencer on social media. I'm not a social media influencer. I'm a self-published author who uses social media to influence. I'm 7 books in. They all were self-published, right? So in 2021, at the end, the end of 2021, at this point, my books are averaging on my website. A slow month for me would be like $700 a month, just my books. Thank you, James. I appreciate the super chat. And I'm going to tap into with you guys in a minute, in just a second. I'm on one. You got to bear with me. Y'all got to, you know what I mean? I'm fired up today. So I just need y'all to just hold me down, right? At the end of 2021, I'm at a slow month for me with my book sales would be like 700. An average month for me was like $1,200 to $1,500. Yes, this is how much money I was making from my book sales after a continuous 12 years at that point. I've been doing this. So people find my content all the time. They binge watch my content all the time. I had a very consistent flow of book sales, and a great month is like $2,000, $2,500, right? At the end of 2021, probably like right at the beginning of 2022, my shit stopped. My book sales, my traffic, I got your sheet. Somebody sent me an email and asked me for the link. I got you. If you guys want to get and I know you didn't send me that to mention. I just saw the notification. I got you. If you want to see the full Kingdom Within web series. My book sales completely stopped. My workshops, everything completely stopped. And I'm saying this because I need you guys to understand that I am just now really getting back into the flow with the algorithm. People couldn't find my Instagram page. They couldn't find my Facebook. They couldn't find my YouTube channel. So what I'm telling you is that I know for a fact that if they want to censor you on social media, they can. Remember when Sean King, and he's not on Instagram anymore, and he's converted to Islam. He's gone in a whole different path. I get his notifications from his Substack. Remember when Sean King was, and this was like, 2024, I think, when he was heavily just focused on exposing what was going on in Gaza. He was exposing those people over there and the whole situation. For like months, they let it run. For months, they let him say whatever he wanted to say. They let him show all of those videos, all of those harrowing videos and clips of what was happening there, and they did not censor him at all. And he kept saying they're keeping people from seeing my content, but I was like, no, they're not, because they wanted us to know. They wanted us to see it. They wanted us to see what they were capable of. They wanted us to see what they were doing. When Sean King started talking greasy, he started talking real, and I say greasy tongue in cheek because, it's par for the course, right? You got people, it's understandable is my point. They shut him down when he started getting a little too besides himself, when he started talking about those small hats. But for months, they allowed for his content to be seen because they wanted us to know. Now we have the situation with Fauci. People are talking about the vaccine. There was a point when I wouldn't even say it. I'm going to show you guys some clips from the Kingdom Within web series. When I was typing and putting together my lectures, I was even like being careful and spacing out words, I created a whole new form of hieroglyphics, right? Trying to navigate AI and this algorithm so that I could give you guys the truth, but at the same time, keep myself from getting censored and getting banned. So I'm saying all of that to say that I know for a fact, and I've gotten so many testimonies, and this is important when I talk about the price that I've paid and the impact that this had on my business and the impact that it had on my life. I've gotten so many messages from people, and I know for a fact that hundreds, if not thousands of people did not take that shot because of my book, because of my work, because of my platform, because of my message. And that makes it worth it for me, right? So let me tap in with you guys in the chat room real quick, because I didn't even do that. I'm on one. I'm telling you right now, Satan is on 10. And when I say Satan came from behind the curtain, that means that the gods need to rise up. That means that the righteous ones need to rise up. We think this is something in the past. We think that if you made it past 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, that shit's in the past. No, there's another level to this. That's relative, and I'm going to get into that in just a second. So there's a physical aspect to this in terms of if you got it in your body or if you've been having sex with somebody who got it in their body. I'm going to get into that as well. I'm telling you, the research is there, the information is there, as well as if you are in environments with someone who has taken that shot within a 7-week timeline, as well as if you are in environments where there is high-paced, high velocity energy, a lot of sweating going on, right? A lot of women having miscarriages and abnormal periods and problems with their periods, missed cycles, multiple cycles in a month. Yeah, it's all tied back to this shot. And these are women who have not actually taken it. So when the Bible talks about the separation of the wheat from the tare, or is it the wheat from the chaff? The wheat from the tare, right? This is the moment that we're in right now. Fear is a hell of a motivator. When we talk about spiritual warfare, Satan's number one priority and number one resource and tool is fear. Let me drink some of my chlorophyll water real quick. People ask me, do I feel validated? Hell no. I'll feel validated when I get the money I lost. And even then, I'm not going to feel validated because people are, I got to be careful with my language. This shit is real. Let me chat room. Peace and love, Lemire. How you doing? Happy to have you. The joy I found. Hey, Queen. Happy to have you. DC checking in. Much love, powerful woman. Louisville, Kentucky. Yes. California, multi-dimensional T. Peace and love. Underworld is dirty South Atlanta. Mama love. Okay, I got you. Dallas, Texas. We the supreme beings, and we're the supreme beings, and they're the supreme liars. Let's go. Facts. Eric said blessings all. Everyone like this live. Thank you so much, powerful woman, for holding me down and for reminding everybody, because I do forget at times. Legacy tier strategies piece was good. Queen Supreme, Miss Ali, a little something. Mac, just a little something. Tony chiming in from Detroit. Okay, happy to have you here always. Just had a 3-hour power nap after an earlier in the day heated 1-hour yoga class at my gym. That's what's up, Inspired One. I'm here for that. Let's see. Hello from Charlotte. Unvaxxed and highly favored. Facts. Zaza coming with big Scorpio energy on this. We already know. It's true. Miss Keita, peace and love. Happy to have you here, sis. KGG Resham. Hello, Miss Ali. Peace and love. Appreciate you. Powerful woman said everyone who sends Zaza a Cash App donation will get good news by the end of the night. I feel that. I'm feeling really good about that comment. I feel great, Joy. I feel really, really good. I'm fired up. Darlene was good. Much love to my sis in Atlanta. The Blissful Wizard, love, peace, and hair grease. I'm here for that too. I feel great. Boom. Really, really good. God bless you, Donald Jones. I'm happy to have you here. I appreciate you. Just Z2000, peace and love. Happy to have you here. E40, C World turned up. Man, that shit was crazy. That was crazy. That's like I was telling them, if you guys are just tuning in, I was listening to Carlos Rossi by E40, and it had me fired up. But anyway, walaikum salam, brother La. How you doing? Happy to have you here. Miss Poetic Just, peace and love, queen. Very happy to have you here. Let's see. I never took it. Spinning My Opinion said I never took it, and now what Fauci said to DO is contradicted in his scientific journal, which has different ideas regarding C19 fats. Darlene is in Detroit. I thought you were in Atlanta, sis. My bad. They all need to apologize to Kyrie. Yeah, I'm going to get into that as well, because y'all know I was riding for Kyrie hard. The sound is good, beautiful. Please check your email. Got you, Miss Poetic Justice. Tony Boss posted my Cash App. I appreciate you for that. Much love. And let me just put that on the screen just in case anybody needs that information. Everyone I know that took that shot is crazy as hell. Yeah, that's the other thing we're going to get into. Spinning My Opinion is in Chicago. From Chicago, most of the time I'm in Florida, then Vegas, now being in Birmingham, Alabama. Let's see. T. Kitugwa Asan Guam. Okay. Peace. I'm happy to have you here. From California, raised in Indiana, currently in Vegas. Miss Kita said that. I had a dream about Vegas the other night, and it was very strange. I don't know why it was. That's another story. Just Z2000 said I watched that series. It was fire. Yeah, I went in. I'm gonna show some clips from it. Let's see. James, I already said thank you. I appreciate you. Everybody, please like this video. Thank you so much. Dr. Fauci caused a huge rift in my friendships, yeah, and families too. It was a lot going on. Thank you for your service to humanity, Zaza. You are an angel of love. Thank you so much, Botanical Brother. I appreciate you. My baby girl suffering from something, but no shot. Okay. I believe it. I'm in early menopause at the age of 36, and I didn't even take it. So that's, like I was saying, and I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit, how these shots are affecting women that didn't take the shot, depending on proximity, right? I'll get into that. I was so turned up in 2020. They arrested me, Chapter 1, racist ass America. Yeah. And they arrested a lot of people. Peace, JB. How you doing? Stone Mountain in the building. I love your smile. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you. Dang, Zaza was right the whole time. Facts. It's all good, James. We're going to get into it. Thank you, God, Emperor Doom. I appreciate you for the love. Shout out to Stone Mountain. I'll be in Atlanta very soon. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Exactly, UFO. Happy to have you here. Brandon said good evening, Empress Zaza and Chad from North Carolina. ATM Tim said hello, Zaza. Peace and love. When asked what color the necktie was, he pled the fifth. Well, he had to, because they were asking him silly questions in order to get him to answer to anything in particular. So let's get into this. And thank you guys so much for the support. I appreciate you so much. I promise you. When I was prepping for my event in LA, it was in Carson at the time, I had a whole presentation set up. And in that presentation, I had a video file of the PCR test. And I'm being careful with how I talk here. And again, please like this video. If for any reason they take this video down, I'll just post the whole thing on my website. And then I'll just do a short video, 30 seconds. And I'll say, here's the link to the video. You guys can watch it. So just, hold me down in the meantime. Be careful about what you say in the comments. Try to code your language so we can try to at least, navigate or trick the algorithm. I had a presentation lined up for my event, and there was a video in the presentation that had a lady who did a test on the swabs. And when she did this test, and I think it's in one of these Kingdom Within videos, it showed nanotechnology in the swabs. And she's talking about it as she's doing this experiment, right? When I tell y'all, the whole entire file got wiped out of my computer. My computer shut down. It restarted. When it restarted, it popped back up with welcome or something, but it was in multiple different languages, right? And that never happened to me on my computer before. And this was a video that I because you can download certain videos, but I stopped downloading the videos because the video keeps there's a digital footprint where you can see where it came from. So I would screen record the videos and then I would save them. So this was a screen recorded video. This is how I know how dangerous AI is, right? It was a screen recorded video where this lady is doing this test and showing these PCR swabs and showing, I forget what she put on it. She had it under one of those purple lights, but it was something that she put on. It's been a while since I watched this. And it started to show the technology get activated in the swab. I'm going to try to find that particular video in the Kingdom Within web series. And I won't play the sound, but I'll play the visuals so you guys can see it, right? So if you remember, and if you saw the movie Odyssey, or if you read the book, the Trojan horse was the way that they got in without anybody referencing. And I've been talking about the PCR being the Trojan horse from the very beginning, right? Those tests played an important role. Not only the tests, though, the white lines in the sky, which I've been screaming about from the top of my lungs for the last 15 years. In 2018 and 2019, I started to notice, and it's in my content that I was creating at that time, people all over the country started getting sick at the same time. And the average person would just think it's the flu, right? But in my mind, because I've been studying this stuff that they're spraying in the sky, I'm thinking my intuition, and I can't prove it, but my intuition is telling me they're spreading this shit through the stuff that they're spraying in the skies, right? All right, cool. You guys with me? We all together? Because I want to start at the very beginning when we talk about what was COVID. What were we actually looking at? What were we experiencing? What is it that actually took place in 2020 that caused so many people to be in such a high level of fear that they completely neglected all rationale, all common sense? And I've written 2 articles. If you took the shot, there is a longer version of the article that gets into all of the nitty gritty, all of the research. And then there is a shorter 1 page that just references the things that I suggest in terms of for the people who took the shot. I've also got a list of things that we're going to talk about at the end. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. And I'm also not one of those people that's like, nah, I told you so. No, this shit has caused me so much anxiety over the last 6 years. And again, this is not over. This is not something that's behind us. When you understand the connection of the cell phone towers, Thank you so much, Sakina. I appreciate the Cash App. I got your email address. I'll shoot you the information in the next 24 hours to get your copy of the ebook version of Ancient People. So I was going to start with a reading from Alana Freeland, but I want to start with the 2012 Olympics opening ceremony. If you've seen the Kingdom Within web series, then you've seen this video. But I need for us to understand how strategic these people are and how far in advance they plan the things that they do, right? And the 2012 Olympics in London, which was weird, and just like the CERN opening ceremonies, when I do a CERN video, I'm going to show you guys that as well. It's this weird, creepy, doesn't even make sense the way that they put these shows on. But this opening ceremony in London absolutely 1000% predicted what was going to happen in 2012. And let me see if I should turn the sound down. Okay, yeah, I'm going to turn the sound all the way down just to make sure that nothing is said in that video that might get us flagged here. I didn't upload this into the system because it's 12 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole 12 minutes, but I'm going to play probably like maybe 4 or 5 minutes. The scene opens with, and let me share my screen here. The scene opens with beds being pushed out onto the floor. Mind you, this is an Olympic ceremony. So in America, we would have acrobats, we would have dancing, we would have singing, right? And I'm just using America as an example, but this is the opening scene of the Olympics, right? Let me share my screen. Shit pisses me off. All right, so this is the video. And so you can see here, these are nurses that are wheeling out beds, right? These are children in beds. And they intentionally kept the visuals is dark, right? So you got to kind of really look at it, because I looked for several videos and they're all kind of like dark like this, right? Which is a reason why I think that there's this doom and gloom element to this. So this is the 2012 Olympics. This was the Winter Olympics, I believe, right? And so they're singing and they're pushing the hospital beds onto the stage, and the idiots in the background are clapping. Why? I don't know. So you can see the beds being unrolled. Again, this is 2012. All right, so this is how they set things up, where they put these things right in front of our face and tell us exactly what it is that they are prepping to do, right? And so the NPCs and the people who don't have third eye perspective or spiritual discernment fall for this shit without even realizing it. So again, this is, what does this have to do with the Olympics? And look in the background, they have the you know, on the heart monitor, when you're in the hospital and the monitor frequency thing kind of shows up, it's in the background. There's so much subliminal stuff in this, it just absolutely sickens me. I'm gonna turn the volume up a little bit and let this play for a few minutes. I just want you guys to get the original feel. This is predictive programming. 2012 Olympics in London. They're rolling out children on hospital beds. And they're clapping. Why are they clapping? Now, hold on, pause. Remember the dancing doctors and the dancing nurses? Do you guys remember when all of the TikTok videos and all of the Instagram videos, these people who are supposed to be in these dire, dangerous, deadly environments and situations, and the doctors and nurses were dancing? These are supposed to be the intelligent, highly intelligent, lettered people, right? Okay, remember, this is from 2012. Pause this and move this forward a little bit. I want to make sure we get to the end, which is the main point that we want to focus on here. Okay. Now remember, hold on, move back a little bit. So we finished the dancing, right? So now we're coming to a more subtle, somber energy, right? Notice the change and the shift in energy. And you're about to see the dark forces or the representations for death enter into the scenery. (2020) London Olympics. Predicting what was going to happen in 2020 with the pandemic. People in the audience cheering this shit on. I noticed all these people who come into the screen with the all black on. See this down here? These represent the purveyors of death. Yeah, it does remind you of a scene from The Wiz. Let's fast forward this a little bit because the big devil is getting ready to come in. Who is that? Who is that? You see the clown element there? You see Dr. Death there waving his wand? You see how these people play in our faces? And they're it's like a circus. It's a clown-like element, and that's intentional because they've intentionally been playing with us. This whole situation with Dr. Fauci and these hearings, they're playing with us. It's all theater. They get off on this shit. You can see the evil ones, right, lurking, all in the background and all black. And then you got the big devil, the big evil one. Why are there dark forces? Why are there dark forces skating amongst a scene that's supposed to look like a hospital amongst nurses and children that are supposed to be sick? Isn't this an environment for happiness? Shouldn't, if you're gonna try, nothing about this scene makes any sense. Fast forward a little bit. You see more and more of them coming in, right? Now we got the doctors entering the scene. See the doctors dancing. I want to fast forward because there's one point where they show this. Let's see if it's in this video. So you see this baby here. Hold on, let me back up a little bit. You're gonna see this representation of this new baby, this large baby that they're getting ready to show. Exactly. Vampire said, what the hell does Medicare have to do with the Olympics? Now you see this new baby right here, right? That's being formed. This is the goal for a new type of human being. So this is a ritual. This is they're showing you what the whole point of all of this is about. Now there is another scene in this presentation, and if you want to go back and watch the whole thing, you can. I also have this video in my Kingdom Within web series, and I told everybody at the beginning of the video, if you want to watch that full series, just shoot me an email. I'll send you the link for it. I only didn't post it here because I'm trying to keep my digital footprint small, and I'm trying to be careful about what I share in these social media spaces to try to, keep the algorithm from working against me. But there is another scene in here where they show this tower that looks like a cell phone tower that is beaming a light and beaming a frequency, right? Which is another part of this that I'm going to get into shortly. So let me bring up my Kingdom Within web series because I did so much research. Actually, you know what? I want to start with this video real quick. I remember this brother went viral because he was challenging Dr. Fauci. They were going door to door. I think this was like Maryland or somewhere, but they were going door to door and trying to entice people to get this shot, right? And this brother tore their asses a new hole. And I was so proud of him and I had so much respect for him. And so I just want to bring it back to that, right? Because I'm going to get into the shots, but we need to go back and remember what actually happened that brought all of this on. Shout out to everybody just now tuning in. Make sure you guys like this video, please. All support and reciprocity is greatly appreciated because this video is definitely going to get demonetized. So I'm taking one for the team. Cash App information is in the description. I told everybody up front, I'm offering a $15 special for my Ancient People ebook. That's how I would like for you guys to support me, so it's reciprocal. If you do it by Cash App, which is the only way I want to offer this special, just send the Cash App and then put your email address in the description, and within 24 hours, I will send you the link to download your copy. So this is Mr. Fauci, who for sure is falling on the sword and taking one, and is the one who is being blamed. He's the fall guy for what's happening. So let's just go back a little bit in time and remember what actually took place.
Are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes.
Watch how they use the Black woman. Let's keep that in context here. He got a sister with him that's the mouthpiece.
Years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay,
you know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And
it's much more serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
The number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that. Something else going on.
It is something going on.
There's something else.
You're right. But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city. But I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is.
Yeah, everybody wasn't going for that shit, right? And you see how they use a Black woman. Okay, so let me reduce this, and I want to bring us to my Kingdom Within web series. And I was gonna pull a lot of this stuff up, a lot of these files that I had on my hard drive, and then I started looking back through the Kingdom Within web series, and I was like, nah, I got this all. You know what I mean? The research is still there. It's still, everything is still there, right? So let me pull this up real quick. Again, shout out to everybody just now tuning in. I'm very happy to have you guys, especially for this important conversation. Like I said in the beginning of the video, Satan came from behind the curtain in 2020, and I'm on his ass. Pause. I'm on his head. I'm on their neck. Every time I think about this, I've been completely re-triggered from all of this shit. I was getting mad anxiety in 2022, 2023, when I was finding out people that I knew that I loved took this shot, because I knew what was in it. I knew from the beginning. I'm going to tap in with I'm going to read some passages from my book, Black Matters, the Scientific Intervention in Our Affairs. So I just want to get back to, because I know the average person is like, okay, yeah, Zaza, that sounds good. But like, people were really getting sick, right? My mother really got sick. My father really got sick, ... right? So let's get into the science of it. Stephen Lanka, and by the way, let me just say this, because somebody said in my last video that I talk sometimes like a professor and that maybe it can be a little hard to follow. I think it was something to that effect. This is a college level conversation that we're having right here, right? So, and like I said in the beginning of the video, the fact that we don't really stress science enough, we don't respect science enough. This is a scientific conversation that we're having right here. Spiritual, yes. Intellectual, yes. Psychological, yes. Emotional, absolutely, because I'm fired up, clearly. But this is also a conversation about science, and I'm going to try to make this as put everything in layman's terms. So just allow me to kind of unfold this. And this is part one of the 3-part series, the Kingdom Within web series. If you want to watch the full thing, just shoot me an email, info@zazali.com. I'll send you the link. Stefan Lanka, German molecular biologist, pointed out Scotch taping together short SARS-CoV-1 gene sequences does not take the place of isolating a single SARS virus or the discovery of a complete genome. So when you went in, to whom it may concern, and got those PCR swabs and they told you that you had COVID, what they did was they took a bunch of genome sequences and they put them together and basically said, and this, by the way, this was artificial intelligence. Right. This is a lot of the stuff that happened in the background it was a digital formatting that artificial intelligence used to use these PCR tests and the test for the PCR tests to tell you something, which was just basically a puzzle that they put together in order to come out with this SARS-CoV-1 diagnostic that they came out with. Right. So what was happening in 2020? If they take this video down, I promise you guys within 24 hours, I'm going to come back and give you the link so you can watch it in its fullness. What is this? This is wrong. To watch it in its fullness, because we're not doing that. We're not playing that game no more.
When I call them death camps.
I don't want to hear you right now, Zaza. Not that Zaza. So what happened? These were the hospital protocols for people who were going in and getting tested for something that for a test that wasn't even testing for what they say what they were testing for, right? And I know several people who went and checked into the hospital with, maybe flu-like symptoms, or my brother from Atlanta, his uncle went and he was calling me and telling me the whole thing as it was happening. He was like, Zaza, he just had diabetes complications. He went in for ... Next thing you know, they were giving him remdesivir. And the next thing you know, he was on a ventilator. And the next thing you know, he died. The high mortality rate, there was two things. The high mortality rate and the family being kept in the dark. This was something that was consistent. The CARES Act provided bonus payments to hospitals whenever you had a diagnosis of COVID. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services is waiving patients' rights. This is a deadly combination, and here's what happens. You get a payment, you meaning the hospital. You get a payment when you offer a free COVID test in the emergency room. You get a boost payment if you have a diagnosis of COVID. You get another bonus payment if you are admitted with COVID. You get another bonus payment if you are put on remdesivir. You get another bonus payment if you're put on a mechanical ventilator. You get another 20% bonus if the diagnosis of your death certificate says COVID, even though you may not have died from COVID. There's bonus payments to coroners, paying hospitals to unalive you. $100,000 per patient is what the hospitals were getting. I need for y'all to understand what I'm saying here. I need for us to understand this level of evil and wickedness that we all lived through in 2020. I'm never letting this shit go. It's not like I'm walking around, oh my God, go. No, it's not like that at all. But what we're not gonna do is let you play in our face when you try this shit again, right? So let me fast forward. Because this is I'm laying it out to you guys on what we thought we were looking at versus what we were actually looking at. I did this presentation in 2022. Imagine if I had a lab. I'm just saying, in the fall of 2019, but remember, China's the bad guy. There always has to be a bad guy. Usually it's Islam. It was Osama bin Laden at a certain point, right? It was Iran at a certain point. Right now, it's Iraq at a certain point. There always has to be a bad guy, right? China is the bad guy in this situation, even though China is heavily vaccinated and China has an active social credit system right now. In the fall of 2019, all Chinese citizens underwent inoculation with Sinovac and Sinopharm vaccines containing replicating digitized symbiote RNA, but not mRNA. On December 30th, 2019, it went public that ophthalmologist Li Wenling has 7 cases of severe acute respiratory syndrome quarantined in Wuhan. Panic ensued. 10 days later, Wenling and his parents became ill. Tests for SARS-CoV-1 were negative, perhaps because it was atypical pneumonia, SARS symptoms being the same as those atypical pneumonia. On January 30th, Wenling was given the fast-tracked and untested PCR test, which came back positive. He died not long later. In early 2020, emergency medical physician Cameron Kyle Seidel at Maimonides Medical Center in Brooklyn, New York, noticed that lungs of COVID-19 victims were damaged and their blood registered very low in oxygen. In fact, they seemed to be suffering oxygen starvation or hypoxia, as if they were in a jet at 35,000 feet with the cabin pressure dropping. Patients were breathing, but their oxygen was low, and ventilators made them overbreathe. Inadequate oxygen delivery to cells is neither acute respiratory disease nor pneumonia. In fact, losing oxygen is the fast track to organ failure. They flooded their lungs and their organs with remdesivir. Now backtrack, because I skipped this, pardon me, when I was on the part about China. I'm trying to make sure I'm staying on point here with this presentation. So Wenling, okay. The first American case was reported January 20th, 2020. Look at the numbers, first of all, because these people play games and talk to each other with numbers. Thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate the Cash App, and I haven't forgot about you, sis. I got you. When I send everybody else the email for the link, I'll make sure I tap you in on that. The first American case was reported January 20th, 2020. Then 2 Chinese tourists in Rome tested positive, and the U.S. and Italy were off to the races. By March, 110 nations were reporting infections. The TikTok footage of men in hazmat suits picking up people dropping to the pavement in Wuhan went out January 24th, 2020. The sudden collapse pattern did not really fit with fever, dry cough, shortness of breath, and breathing difficulties, but novel infectious coronavirus was blamed anyway. Now remember, those were the symptoms. So why were people allegedly falling dead in the streets? We'll get to that in just a second. Thank you, Dr. AJ. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's a link. I think I had something in there. Hold on. The SARS-CoV-2 virus has 4 structural proteins: the spike, the membrane, the envelope, and nucleocapsid proteins. The spike protein protrudes from the middle of the coronavirus and attaches to the ACE2 receptor of cells to start the process of cell entry, replication, and infection. The 2 major parts of the spike protein are the S1 and S2 subunit. The S1 has the receptor binding domain. Now, the most important words in this passage, if you don't remember anything else, is replication. Because what does replication mean? It's repeating itself. It's doubling itself. It's tripling and quadrupling itself, right? So when they say spike protein, replication, and receptor binding, hold on to those words.
This is again about the spike protein. Source of anxiety over the coronavirus has been the process of watching the news unfold on social media. There's an avalanche of information from China every day, personal anecdotes and videos, which tell you more than Beijing will ever tell you. Some are accurate, but many aren't. In this report, we'll show you 6 viral videos which are causing what we call an infodemic. And we'll discuss their authenticity, but first a disclaimer: what we're about to show you could be very disturbing. Video number 1, residents of Wuhan, locked inside their high-rise apartments, screaming for help. That's the claim. Take a look.
This is video of people in China who have been mandated to stay inside their households, who were filmed. They had drones flying around these apartments and giving these people warning signs and telling them that they couldn't leave their homes. So these are people screaming outside of their windows because they are trapped inside their houses. This is China.
Are they really screaming for help? This is the Chinese version. these are not screens. The people heard in this video are singing patriotic Chinese songs to boost their morale and cheer each other up. That's what Beijing wants the world to believe. This video was shared by the YouTube channel of the South China Morning Post. That was on the 28th of January. Leave it up to you to decide which version you want to believe. Video number 2, and this one goes in cohesion with the claim being made in the first one. Spray trucks disinfecting residential areas by spraying chemicals in the air, flashing emergency lights and streams of mist create what appears to be otherwise deserted streets. China is spraying down an entire town.
Guys, if the audio sounds a little distant or it's a little, maybe turn your volume up a little. Remember, I had to screen record a lot of these videos and this content because I was trying to keep the algorithm from monitoring what I was doing. So some of these videos, you're gonna have to listen a little bit closer or maybe turn the sound up so you can hear it clearly.
It's in the Hubei province in this manner.
Remember, this all started in China, right?
That's the fear campaign. For crime and mindsets. Burn that people wouldn't revolt. Video number 3, and this one shows policemen dragging a woman out of a car and pinning her to the ground, after which she loses consciousness. This video is going viral on Facebook with the claim that these cops publicly killed this woman, who was apparently infected by the coronavirus.
Look at this shit, man. Ooh. They were doing this all over the world. This is not just China. I have so much video footage of this. It's insane.
This is the fear campaign. We ran a fact check. This video is from the Heilongjiang province of China, where the government has banned private cars due to the outbreak. The woman apparently had not been notified, and she was forcefully detained. It's just one of the many ways in which China handles dissent on a daily basis. Video number 4. Are doctors with guns killing patients? This is extremely disturbing and gruesome. It supposedly shows a chaotic scene in Wuhan and is made up of 3 individuals. These are 3 individual unrelated clips. The implication here appears to be that doctors are killing patients as opposed to treating them. Well, we could not trace the original source of this video, but China claims that the armed individuals are policemen wearing protective gear. A CGTN headline detailing the police responses on your screens. Apparently, cops, these cops, were only dealing with rabid dogs, not people. Armed cops for a rabid dog is a bit extreme, but that's the government version. You would believe them if they release the full unedited video, which the government hasn't so far.
So, hold on. I think there was one more.
Manipulated is what the government says now.
Okay, so the bird's being killed, right? Let me pause this. So the bird's being killed, right? So for everybody just now tuning in, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Calhoun Dukes. I appreciate the love, the super chat. We're just talking about, we're building the case here in terms of what was COVID actually, right? We started out with, showing the video of Dr. Fauci walking door to door. We've already talked about how they use fear as a momentum. And so all of this is tied back to China, allegedly, right? They say it started in Wuhan. I just read the passage that represented, or that referenced in Wuhan, all of the citizens in 2019 had to take a mandatory shot, right? Now, let me fast forward from this because I think I've made the point here. All right, so Wuhan to roll out China's first 5G intelligent medical project. Now, this is from 2019. This is from February 2019. On February 21st, a 5G strategic cooperation framework. Let me turn my frequency music back on. Make sure I stay in pocket. On February 21st, a 5G strategic cooperation framework agreement was signed between Zhangnan Hospital of Wuhan University and China Telecom, which was China's first 5G intelligent medical demonstration project. The two sides will focus on 5G development goals and accelerate the development of 5G trial commercial operations. They will jointly set up a forward-looking laboratory to carry out innovative research on intelligent hospitals based on the latest network 5 technologies such as 5G, cloud, and big data. Intelligent hospital cooperation will be rolled out in intelligent emergency, intelligent operating room, intelligent monitoring, and on internet diagnosis and treatment platform. And an internet diagnosis and treatment platform will be established in the fields of hierarchical diagnosis, telemedicine, and internet hospitals. So we've got step one, which was to mandate vaccines for all of the people in this city, Wuhan, in 2019. Step two, 5G is going live. And we know that the goal is to have 800,000 5G cell phone towers set up in America. 800,000 5G cell phone towers set up all over America. Once that's done, that's when that grid is actually going to go live. And then that's when we're going to hit a whole different plateau of what it is that we are seeing and dealing with and have been dealing with. China's first trial 5G wireless network on a college campus has been established in the Kaohsiung University of Science and Technology located in Wuhan, capital of central China's Hubei province, China Mobile announced on February 20th, 2019. Why is this important? Because they have everybody looking at Wuhan and Dr. Fauci in terms of these tests, in terms of this being a place where the initial testing to figure out if this shot was going, it went live here, but then they also were doing, the word escapes me. It's probably in my next slides, where they were doing these trial runs, right, to test the shot. Test data shows that the 5G network is available to provide a peak single user download speed of 1.6 Gbps, nearly 16 times faster than that of 4G service, which will enable applications of technologies such as online distant learning, featuring augmented reality and virtual reality. In 2019, China Mobile will invest 1 billion yuan to build 2,000 5G base stations in Hubei, covering key areas such as the 7th Military World Games venues. Now let's move forward because I'm laying a base. What was COVID, Zaza? You say it wasn't real. Well, what was it then? I'm getting to it. Wuhan, the capital city of, let me play this. Novel coronavirus originated from. Minimize myself. Wuhan, the capital city of Hubei province, is where the novel coronavirus originated from. Reports of large numbers of crows circling and fish jumping out of lakes and waterways were everywhere in Hubei province. Half a world away, we watch as Chinese people in extreme respiratory distress flooded hospital emergency centers, experiencing loss of smell and taste, fever, aches, fatigue, dry cough, diarrhea, stroke, seizure, fizzing, an electrical or burning sensation of the skin, and the breathlessness of oxygen distress. Now here we can see the videos of these mass bird die-offs. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember when the whales in extreme numbers were being beached and found dead, and dolphins? Remember, there was a time when hella birds everywhere were just falling out of the sky. And what did we do? What did we say? Did we even care? I was screaming about this shit at the top of my lungs when it was happening. Not that I expected, I just was like, we need to be paying attention to this. So what are we saying? We're saying in 2019, they mandated a certain shot. They said it didn't have the mRNA in it. It only had the RNA technology. And at the same time, not too long far after, we see the 5G towers in Wuhan go live. And then at the same time, we're seeing mass, on the left is the mass fish jumping out of water. This is frequency wars. And then on the right, we're seeing the mass bird die-offs. Now, what did they say happened in Wuhan? What was the videos that they were showing that was scaring the hell out of everybody? People dropping, just falling to the ground everywhere. I keep telling y'all the devil is a wise scientist. Small cells are predicted to increase over the next 5 years as 5G build-out ramps up across the country from 13,000 in 2017 to more than 800,000 total by 2026. These are the 5G cell phone towers that are being placed all over the United States of America, in every major city, and even some of the smaller cities. And some of the smaller cities that don't have 5G cell phone towers, guess what? What's going up? Flock cameras. So on the left, this is one of the models, and they make them look like street lamps. And guess what? They have LED light bulbs. And the LED light bulbs are tied to this too. Let me see, did I talk about the Astro World? I think I talked about the Astro World show with Travis Scott, which was one of the testing grounds, right? This is the 5G ultra wideband network live in NFL stadiums. Please stick with me, family. I'm painting a picture here. I know I'm going fast. I know it's a lot, but I need for us to understand, because we cannot get slipping again. We cannot get caught slipping again. Way too many people got caught slipping and sleep behind the wheel, and that shit affects all of us. Some of the stadiums that are live with 5G ultra wideband right now: Bank of America Stadium for the Carolina Panthers, Empower Field at Mile High Stadium, the Denver Broncos, CenturyLink Field, the Seattle Seahawks, Ford Field, Detroit Lions, Gillette Stadium, New England Patriots, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Dolphins, Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis Colts, MetLife Stadium, New York Giants and New York Jets, M&T Stadium. Oh, hold on. I see I'm still talking here. Let me run it back and pause it. I lowered the volume, so okay. NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas, which is where the Travis Scott concert was, and hopefully I have that in here. I did a whole separate presentation on that, because that was a ritual, and it's directly tied to the shot, and it's directly tied to the tests, and it's directly tied to these 5G towers, not just the cell phone towers, because now they're showing you that they are linking this technology and putting the wiring system underneath the seats and in all of the LED lights, those big ass screens that you see at the Beyonce concerts, all of these concerts now that have those mega screens that are huge, right? They're all laced with millions of 5G antennas. Soldier Field, Chicago Bears, and the US Bank Stadium for the Minnesota Vikings. Now let's move forward here. Let me see. It's been a minute since I tapped in with this, right? As Tom and Crown S. Cohen, MD, points out, viruses are pieces of genetic material with a very specific frequency. It keeps coming back to frequency. Let me let you guys see my face. I'm fired up. I need you to bear with me. This is a frequency game. When I talk about spiritual warfare at the highest levels, this is a frequency game. How you think resonates a certain frequency. How you feel resonates a certain frequency. How you eat, how you take care of yourself, how you breathe. You are emanating a frequency. And the devil and these scientists, Satan, is trying to find a way to control your frequency by any means possible. What's the main apparatus to do so? Fear. The germ or virus, which has a 5.5 hertz, being a symptom of cellular breakdown due to an imbalance of the delicate alkaline pH balance of the body, stands virtually alone against the lie that viruses transmute all on their own, which ignores the fact that many viruses are man-made nanoparticle constructions. Gain of function, that was the word I was looking for. Let me write it down, because that's critical. Gain of function weaponized as per military grants and patents, and a concerted attempt is made to confuse the difference between natural and synthetic viruses and bacteria. Shit pisses me off, man. Now, here we go. Because y'all know I've been screaming about this shit. Ooh, let me just, woof, 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 woof. I wish I could have got my people to pay attention. I wish I could have got people to listen and to pay attention and to take the shit serious. These are images of the white lines in the sky. The one on the right is what a lot of people have been claiming is two suns. And I can't remember if I took this picture, if I pulled this from somewhere else. I have several pictures of this same type of image in my phone because I've been recording this shit for 20 years now, really longer than that. But the image on the right is how the nanotechnology bounces off the sun and reflects back a version and an image of the sun, right? I'm using my finger like you guys can see that. So you see this right here. And then this is another reflection of how they look. And you can see this halo around the sun because the technology is bouncing off of the sunlight and the sun rays, right? So Ilana Freeland, which I have two of her books here to reference in this conversation, says it is likely that a host of adenovirus viral vectors are being delivered via chemical trails for mass gene therapy. I need a second. I'll be right back. I need a second. Y'all have no idea how much this pisses me off, man. Y'all have no idea how much this pisses. In 2018 and 2019, and there's content, all the stuff that I've been talking about, researching and teaching about there's all documentation in my content, right? I was noticing that because I got people all over the country. I talk to people all over the country, friends, clients, whatever. I was noticing that people were getting sick at the same time all over the country, right? Same symptoms. They call it a major version of flu, blah, 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 whatever, respiratory illness, H1N1, all this random shit just popping up. And I kept saying they're using the chemtrails. I knew it. So when you say, I'm trying to be careful about what I say. If they take this video down, I'll just post it on my website and I'll post the link so you guys can watch this. This is critical. Because if they did, then they can do it again, right? This was one of the means of dissemination for what later became to be known as a group of symptoms. Everything we're talking about is about a group of symptoms, right? So we got Wuhan, we got the mandates for all of the people in that city to be vaccinated in 2019. Then the 5G towers went live in 2019. Then we saw the video footage of all of the people allegedly dropping dead in the streets. At the same time, we just saw the footage of the fish jumping out of the water and the birds falling out of the sky. Then we saw the 5G cell phone towers in America that started being put up in 2017. I think it said 18,000 or 12,000 at that point, 800,000 by 2026 now. Now we're looking at the chemical trails in the sky, and Ilana Freeland, who is way more thorough and way more versed, and her research is not to be fucked with, right? Just this woman is on her shit, referencing that it is likely that a host of adenovirus vectors are being delivered via chemical trails for mass gene therapy. She didn't say to make people sick. She said mass gene therapy, which is exactly what the mRNA technology is. Now, let me come to my book, The Scientific Intervention in Our Affairs, because I didn't even realize at the time, and let me fast forward here and see where I'm at. I have so much information, y'all. This is, mind you, I sat down and did this lecture. Oh, these are videos. Hold on. I sat down and did this lecture in 2022. It's 7 hours and 10 minutes. I was not playing. I had to get this shit off of my chest. I think I made my point with this, so let me fast. I think the video shows the two sons a little bit more. I was stressing that point at the time, but I don't want to stress that right now. So let me just fast forward, and then I want to read this passage about Morgellons disease, which I've been studying for 20 years now. And I was trying to understand what the hell it was. And then I realized at a certain point that that's the water thing. I put a jug of water in the freezer and it just froze. I tried to just pour some, but it's frozen. So that's that noise you hear in the background. So Morgellons disease, I'm going to read this. This is a passage from my book, The Scientific Intervention in Our Affairs, which I self-published in 2015. Again, if I could have just got people to pay attention and to take what I was saying seriously. Oh my God. On page 79, I'm starting in the middle of an ongoing thing, right? So I said, we will expound on the science of melanin in detail, but for now, let's settle on this fact. Black people are different. We tend to have a higher number of organs and body systems that contain high concentrations of melanin, which is black in color. Therefore, everything affects us differently. Chemtrails are intentionally blocking the sun from our planet. The sun is mandatory to our survival as a people. It is mandatory for our growth and development. Carol Barnes also noted that environmental hazards, including vitamin D deficiency due to lack of sun, are negatively impacting our genetic makeup and causing many life-altering deficiencies in our people today. European scientists from America and all over the world have been studying melanated people since our ancestors first came in contact with them. We can be sure, based on that continuous study, along with the multitude of intentions for chemtrails, they are aware of the impact that blocking the sun or global dimming has and will have on the majority of Black people around the world. We, all of humanity, are breathing in highly toxic metal particulates, a soup of some sorts. However, as Black scientists, researchers, and students, we must start to study these revelations with regard to the immediate impact they are having on our people and our planet. Most of my research and knowledge obtained on this subject have been through the work of white scientists such as Clifford Carnicom, Dr. Nick Begich, Sophia Smallstrom, and Dane Wigington. These are scientists who have dedicated their lives to exposing this covert operation. I didn't even mention Ilana Freeland because at that time I wasn't aware of her work. Why? Because self-preservation is the first law of nature. They are working to protect their offspring and generations to come. We should be adamant in our efforts to do the same. There is speculation that our genetic makeup and or our biology as human beings is being altered by chemtrails and geoengineering. There are many scientists who have done extensive research and believe that these nanoparticles are assimilating themselves into our body and causing irreparable damage even without our knowledge. Now let's get into Morgellons disease. I don't think I have any images of it here. I may have it if I have images within this presentation. I'll bring it up, but I want to try to stay on point. I'm building the conversation. I'm building my hypothesis. It's more than a hypothesis now, but I'm a scientist, so we got to do this right. My hypothesis and my thesis on what actually happened. What was COVID? Novid. Morgellons disease is a skin condition that, for all intents and purposes, seems to be more prone to white people or Europeans. I've yet to find the testimony of a melanated or Black person who has been affected, though this does not mean they don't exist. The symptoms can vary from open skin lesions all over the body, which do not scab normally, never become bacterial infected, and heal extremely slow, if at all. A simple Google image search of the term Morgellons disease will expose you to thousands upon thousands of images of web-like sores all over the body of Europeans all over the world. Not long after I started researching chemtrails, I noticed a web-like substance everywhere I went. I still see them to this day. They're on my car windows and my mirrors all the time. Everywhere I went. They looked like spider webs, only these webs were strong and sturdy. They were on my car windows, in bushes around the house, in trees, and stuck to the corners of the screens of windows in my home. I started to reach polyethylene fibers and begin to notice that the web-like disfiguring that was related to Morgellons disease was peculiarly similar to the web-like substances that I was seeing all around me. Researchers have referred to this epidemic as fungi, while others suggest that these are nanoparticles or nanomachines linked to the substances being released from the chemtrail aerosol fibers. There are more than 10,000 families who report that they suffer from this disease, but it is believed that the number is much higher. Most individuals with Morgellons disease report disturbing crawling, stinging, and biting sensation, as well as non-healing lesions, which are associated with highly unusual structures. The highest rates of Morgellons disease are found in California, followed by Texas and Florida. This is important because chemtrails have been heavily sprayed over the Pacific Ocean and California as far back as the 1990s. There has been a man-made drought plaguing California for the last 3 years and the entire West Coast for most of the last 15 years. I'm going to stop there. There's more, but I'm going to stop there. All of this is in my book, The Scientific Intervention in Our Affairs. Now, unbeknownst to me, Morgellons disease, they were testing out the technology that eventually will be put in a shot by spraying that shit in the air and seeing whose body it could penetrate, whose body it could infiltrate. And it was for the most part only affecting Europeans. We think that this is just about race on a certain level, and we're way beyond that. When I show you guys the images of those 800,000 5G cell phone towers, you know how many neighborhoods I've passed through in Beverly Hills, $10 million homes that have 5G cell phone towers on the streets? Upper echelon, well-to-do high schools and middle schools all throughout Southern California in beautiful, affluent, wealthy neighborhoods that have 5G cell phone towers in those communities. We're way past this just being about race. And obviously, I noted race in this book because I was looking at melanin and how they use melanin in all of these scientific studies because they have to find a way to make it work on us. It's easy to make it work on them. Remember, they traveled all over the world and gave melanated people all over the world diseases. They are the original disease carriers. It's easy to make their science work on them. Making the shit work on us is when they accomplish the bigger goal. In her book, Under an Ionized Sky, okay, she said the aerosol operation is a joint project between the Pentagon and the pharmaceutical industry. The Pentagon wishes to test biological diseases for war purposes on unsuspecting populations. It was stated that SARS is a failure as the expected rate of mortality was intended to be 80%. The pharmaceutical industry is making trillions on medications designed to treat both fatal and non-fatal diseases. The bacteria and viruses are freeze-dried and then placed on fine filaments for release. The metals released along the diseases heat up from the sun, creating a perfect environment for the bacteria and viruses to thrive in the air supply. Most countries being sprayed are unaware of the activities and they have not consented to these activities. He states that commercial aircraft flying is one of the delivery systems. The ultimate goal is control of populations through directed and accurate spraying of drugs and diseases. I know it seems like I'm being overdramatic. I know this language is scientific in nature. I hope that you guys are following me. I don't understand a word. I don't understand what is the word you're saying. Melanin disease. My son has been suffering a severe skin disease. Can someone please help me clarify? Morgellons. Morgellons. If you do a search on Google and look for images, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Morgellons, when you look at these filaments under a light, it looks like a computer, a computer chip. You know how computer chips look, the ones that you use to build the internal of the computer. I think I have some images in this, matter of fact, but it's Morgellons disease. Stay with me, family. Please just stay with me. I need you guys to stay with me, okay? These are all of the images of the, thank you so much, Hotspot Casino. I appreciate you. I'm going to put you on the Dr. Leo. I'm very well aware of Leo. Is it Lynn or Horowitz? Or I think I actually have a quote from him in this video. I'm very aware of who that is. I've been doing this for a long time, family. I need y'all to understand. I've been researching this stuff for 25 years. I didn't even start talking about it until 15 years ago. So the reds represent the ionic spheric heaters. This is a super DARPA radar. These right here, high-powered lasers, hint, hint, lasers, fires, hint, hint. And this is the missile defense radar system. And I'm probably giving this context in the background, but let me keep it moving. Genetically modified mosquitoes could be tested in California soon. I'm talking about how did all these people get sick in 2020. Florida and California, targets for genetically modified mosquitoes. And I don't think I show it in this video, but remember when Bill Gates put out the video and showed that same, remember the what is he called? The death guy. There's a name for him. The guy with the black hood who has the long sheath type thing. What is the title for that? We showed it in a video from the 2012 Olympics. Remember the big scary dude, the purveyor of death? There's a name for it. I know somebody in the chat room knows. Bill Gates has a video where he talks about releasing genetically modified, the Grim Reaper. Thank you so much. The Grim Reaper. Bill Gates has a video, and I don't think, it might be here, it might not, I don't know. He has a video of the Grim Reaper, the releasing of a whole bunch of mosquitoes into the public, and then they all form a Grim Reaper. And it's like a minute, and he doesn't say anything. How did all those people get sick? This is Dr. Lee Merritt, or this is Lorraine Day. She's gonna say some stuff that I know is gonna get this video flagged, so I'm not even gonna get into that. But I'm pretty sure she's talking about, okay, so you see this is Israeli News Live. So let me take some water. Let me drink some water. Remember in the video before where they were talking about China, and China released a statement and said that the people were acting like rabid dogs, R-A-B-I-D dogs, which would imply rabies, which is a disease that is particular to dogs, that it could potentially be passed on by a dog if you get bitten by a dog with rabies, right? In this video, Lorraine Day says that she has, this video is probably from like 2022, 2023. She was working with clients in Israel. Now, this is the thing that doesn't get talked about, because we talk about a lot about what the Israelis did to the Palestinians. And now I'm really kind of stepping out there with what I'm saying. If they take the video down, I'll just send you guys the link. I'll post the link on YouTube. I'll do a short video. She said, and mind you, they mandated that vaccine for their own people in Israel, right? So the majority of people there have somewhere between 3 or 4 shots. This is the thing that doesn't get talked about. We only talk about how they did everybody else, how they're doing everybody else. They did this shit to their own people. She said when they were testing this shot that they were inoculating people, and they were starting to act like they had the infection of rabies or rabid dogs. Now, when we look at what's actually happening in the world right now in America, and I think I have a couple of videos coming up, we see how people are being activated. We see how people are losing their shit. We see how people are going completely psycho. 70% of the United States population took that shot. there is a key component to the cell phone towers that activates the technology. I'm not even there yet. I'm just talking about what was COVID. This was the Trojan horse. And I only say Trojan horse because I already talked about the white lines in the sky. So that's blatantly obvious to me. They weren't trying to hide that all. They've been doing that for 30 years. That's not covert. That's happening right in front of our eyes, right above our heads. The PCR tests were the Trojan horse. I try not to talk about this stuff over the years because I don't want to make people afraid, because I know way more people, or maybe there was a balance of people who took both, right? But a lot of people didn't take the shot, but they got those tests, right? I had a friend who worked for the state of California, and she had an ongoing nasal issue. She couldn't breathe. She had all this pressure in her head and in her temple, and she had this mucus that was developing all in this area and all in this area. And she felt it in her throat, and she felt it in her ears right here, right? She felt it in this area, and she felt it in here. I could tell when I talked to her, she could barely breathe. And she had been having these symptoms for a year. Her job was forcing her to take these tests twice a week. Now, if you have any symptoms like this, colloidal silver nasal spray. Colloidal silver nasal spray. All of us should have this anyway. If you're outside and they're heavy spraying, colloidal silver nasal spray. This is another one of those things that I've been screaming at the top of my lungs for 10 years now. The nasal spray for the breathing apparatus, but then the regular colloidal silver to drink so that you can this is one of the ways that you can get this. I won't say the technology because that's a different subject, but the metal particulates that are found in the technology, it has an ability to neutralize it. So I told her to get the colloidal silver, and in 3 days, she called me. She couldn't believe it. She'd been dealing with this for a year. In 3 days, she called me, and she sounded like her regular self. What happened? What is in the PCR tests? I'm going to read this. God, I'm so used to trying to not say things. I'm just going to read the shit. If they flag the page, if they flag the content, if they take it down, it is what it is. We're in the home stretch right here. Graphene oxide found in COVID shots, masks, and swabs. Shots, masks, swabs. Trojan horse, masks, swabs. Which masks? Medical grade masks. The blue ones and the N95s. The experimental, let me see how much, I don't want to read all of this. According to another independent test on PCR swabs in Slovakia, the material they found was DARPA, patented HYDROGEL, lithium, and nylon. After spawning a mixture of nylon fiber fragments. Now remember, what did I say about the web-like fibers and filaments that I was finding all around my house and all around my car when I was living in Oakland back in 2010, 2012, right? From the white lines in the sky, right? Thank you so much, Samuel. I appreciate the super chat. Yes, I'm breathing. Woo. Woo. It's oof, oof, oof. These motherfuckers are After spawning a mixture of nylon fiber fragments, DARPA, HYDROGEL, remains on the nasal mucosa under the pituitary and pineal gland. Spiritual warfare. You understand what the pineal gland represents and what it does. You understand that there is crystals and piezoelectric energy that circulates the pineal gland. Then you understand this is deeper than just trying to make you have physical illnesses and have your body have a certain type of response. I'm talking about dehumanizing you and separating you from the Most High with science. And look at us now, surrounded by all of these fucking NPCs. This mixture immediately reacts with living structures to form crystals that are directionally oriented to the pineal gland, which has its own electromagnetic field. The shape of the crystals determines the type of hydrogel used. The crystals are conductive. Due to the lithium contained in it, the crystals can receive the signal from the transmitter to the cell and transmit signals from the cell to the transmitter. These are actually nano antennas. I haven't even gotten into the shot. I ain't even on the shot yet. Yo, you guys have no idea how heavy it is to carry this shit. Y'all have no idea. I'm not going to read this. I need to move along. This is the video of, let me see. I think this is the video of the swab being tested. Y'all have no idea how heavy this has been for me to carry this. And I can't even tell people what's actually going on because they don't have the bandwidth for it. This pisses me off so bad. I think I played a video. I'm talking in the background. And remember, if you want to watch this whole series, just shoot me an info@zazali.com. I'll send it to you. It's on my website, so we don't have to deal with all this dancing around and playing around. The video on the left is the mask. The video on the right is the swab. Let's just watch this play out. I don't want to play the video because I don't want the algorithm to pick it up. You see those little fibers right there? They added moisture, warm moisture to the mask. Watch this little fibers start to develop. These are the blue medical grade masks that everybody was wearing. These are the blue medical masks that all of the people in China and Japan are wearing. And we wonder why those people won't rebel and haven't rebelled against what's been happening to them for the last 20 years. Watch any footage of China and Japan. You'll see it all over the place. They're wearing these blue masks. The second video. Okay, here we go. That's the PCR test. I don't need for you to be afraid. I need for you to be pissed off. We need righteous rage. It's not about making you afraid. This is about making you sit up straight. The devil stepped his ass in all of our houses and infiltrated our families and infiltrated our livelihoods. And people fell for this shit hook, line, and sink. Black celebrities get endless support. And y'all ride to the death, to the end of the earth and back. Where's Jay-Z been? Has Jay-Z said anything about this situation with Fauci? Has Beyonce? Has any of the Black celebrities that get unlimited resources, unlimited respect, unlimited support? Have they said anything? Of course not. John Hopkins researchers take inspiration from parasitic work for machine delivery. Theragrippers are tiny shaped, changing machines that deliver medicine efficiently to the GI tract. This is the technology. That swab is there for a reason. Theragrippers don't rely on electricity, wireless signals, or external controls. Instead, they operate like small compressed springs with a temperature trigger coating on the devices that release the stored energy autonomously at body temperature. What was COVID? A set of symptoms. Mind you, La Quinta Columna, which is a Spanish-based group of doctors that came together, tested the 2018 and 2019 flu vaccination vials and found mRNA technology in them. I'm not taking a shot. I'm not taking any shot for any reason at all. None. It's going into the PCR tests and the how they use them in the school systems. They had children testing for testing every day. They had children in the California school system taking these tests every day. Long COVID or post-COVID conditions. I'm not going to get into this. I want to fast forward. You guys can watch this whole thing. I got heavy into it. I laid it all out here. I left no stone unturned in this presentation, and I'll send you the link. It's on my website. This is one of those TheraGrippers. And I'm talking in the background, so that's why this is one of those fibers that is, I'll say alive for context. It's not a living organism, but it is a robotic entity, if you will. Face masks and the nanotechnology. This is from the PMID medical journal. The frontier in clothing technology is represented by neo-engineered functional textiles, where nanomaterials are embedded into textiles to confer new functions without altering the comfort of the substrate. Nanomaterials have the same size as viral particles, and because of their huge surface to volume ratio, exhibit physical, chemical, and biological properties that are different from larger size materials. Surface area, melting point, fluorescence, electricity, conductivity, magnetic permeability, and chemical reactivity are examples of properties that change as a function of the size of the particle. This phenomenon causes selective interactions with biological systems, especially with nano-sized organisms such as viruses and bacteria. All the information is there for people, who want to know the truth. Nano-based products for vaccine against and diagnosis of SARS-CoV-2 infections have been the main focus of the last 7 months of research in the nanotechnology field. Nanoparticle-based biosensors for coronavirus have also emerged as sensitive and selective diagnostic tools for early-stage detection. Given the importance of mask-wearing health measures, the response of the nano research community to the coronavirus disease 2019 pandemic, notice it says 2019. Remember, they did Event 201. Where they did this whole theatrical presentation. I probably have it somewhere in this presentation. And said, hey guys, if we have a pandemic, here's what we should do. Personal protective equipment design has been prompt. Textiles companies are looking increasingly to engage nanotechnologies and specific nanomaterials in the quest for new solutions to the pandemic challenge. Nanofibers and nanoparticles have been incorporated into respiratory masks, providing antiviral properties, high breathability, and filtration capacity. I didn't write this shit. These aren't my words. You want to look it up? Pull up this PMCID. These are medical journals. The number is right there. You can look this up for yourself. Just screenshot this. Let me make it bigger, because people have been playing with me for a long time. Screenshot this image and search that number, and you'll find this. There's more data, more information, more verification. Here's another video showing these fibers in these masks. They come alive, quote unquote, when they are with warm breath. I think I've made the point with this, and I know there's some people that are watching this that are not doing well right now. Don't worry, God is, you know what I mean? We deal in actual facts over here, which is why we got to deal with the actual facts. But we also know that the true and living God is real. And if Satan can create it, and if Satan can use God's technology and God's wisdom and the architecture of all life against us, then we can study what it is that they're doing and what they're intending to do and reverse that shit. That's all I've been trying to do for the last 15 years. It's all I've been trying to do for the last 15 years. Self-assembly nanotubes for biomedical use. Rudolf Steiner said in the future, he said this 100 years ago, in the future we will eliminate the soul with medicine. We will eliminate the soul with medicine. Under the pretext of a healthy point of view, there will be a vaccine by which the human body will be treated as soon as possibly directly at birth, so that the human being cannot develop the thought of the existence of soul and spirit. You can't tell me that's not what's happening right now. You can't tell me we're not living amongst. Let me pull my face up so you can see my face, so you can feel my energy, so you can feel my spirit. You can't tell me that's not what we're living amongst right now. You can't tell me we're not surrounded by NPCs and soulless beings. I was at Whole Foods the other day. I probably shouldn't even say this shit out loud. Woo. I'm at Whole Foods earlier today. I just stopped to grab a few things so I wanted to put some food in my body because I knew this was gonna be, you know what I mean? I didn't want to have to think about cooking. So I stopped and grabbed a few things, right? I'm sitting outside in my car and I'm responding to an email. And I something said, look to my left. There is I don't even want to say he's homeless because I don't know if he was homeless or not. He definitely was a trans type. He was a man, but he had on a face full of makeup. He could have very well been homeless. He could have been a prostitute. He didn't look well preserved, right? He looked like he thugging it out, right? This nigga, I'm sorry for saying that word. I look to the left of me. This mother has his pants pulled down. And I don't even know what he's doing. I don't know why his pants are pulled down. I don't know what the hell is going on. I just know I see his balls and his scrotum and his sack and his genitalia. And you know how sometimes when you look at something, you don't know exactly what you're looking at, right? I looked and then I realized his pants were down. So when I realize his pants are down, I'm telling myself not to, like, don't look. But the curiosity in me, I kind of zoomed in a little bit, but then I zoomed out because I realized what I was looking at. And I said, what the fuck? And I looked him dead in his eye. And he said, I'm so sorry. And I just went off. I turned my car on and I don't even remember what I said. I just went off. I went off. So when we talk about human beings not having souls and being surrounded by, mind you, LA is LA, right? The homelessness situation here is a whole different ball game. It's like, you know, the mental health issues here. This is the type of place that drives people crazy. But it ain't just trying to survive. It's not just homelessness. I'm telling you, a lot of these people, they mandated them to take those shots. You got the white lines in the sky. They've been giving out incentives. They gave so many incentives. Let me just, Now I'm remembering. Make sure you guys like this video. I don't even know what's going to happen. The algorithm is not going to support this. I'm taking one for the team. This video is not going to be able to be monetized. I can guarantee you that. I said at the beginning of the video, what I'm asking for support is $15 for the ebook version of my Ancient People textbook. It's 111 pages. You can print it out and do whatever you want to do with it, but it's a masterpiece. I dropped the price to $15, but it's Cash App only because nobody else is in my pockets when you send me love or payments via Cash App. My Cash App information is in the description. $15. In the description, put your email address, and I'll send it to you within the next 24 hours, the link to download it. That's how I'm asking for you guys to support me. Of course, Cash App, Super Chats, Super Stickers, all the love. You see, you have to be able to tell how much research and energy I have put into this. I need you guys to understand how heavy of a price that I've paid in these last 6 years for doing what I do. They fucked my money up. It had a great impact on my business. I have experienced so much stress and anxiety from this subject right here. You should be able to tell. Please support what I do and please reciprocate. To materialistic doctors will be entrusted the task of removing the soul of humanity. As today, people are vaccinated against this disease or that disease, so in the future, children will be vaccinated with a substance that can be produced precisely in such a way that people, thanks to this vaccine, will be immune to being subjected to the madness of spiritual life. He would be extremely smart, but he would not develop a conscience, and that is the future goal of some materialistic circles. Elon Musk, extremely smart, allegedly. I would two-piece his ass on any stage, in any room, at any point in time. But, to this world and to a lot of you guys, he is extremely smart, but he has no conscience. I got you, Shantana. I appreciate you. I'll get that link out to you guys within 24 hours. He has no conscience. Our family members, when they shunned us, when they played in our faces, when they told us we couldn't come around if we didn't have the shot. With such a vaccine, you can easily make the etheric body loose in the physical body. Once the etheric body is detached, the relationship between the universe and the etheric body will become extremely unstable. This is 100 years ago this man wrote this book. And man will become an automaton, for the physical body of man must be polished on this earth by spiritual will. So the vaccine becomes kind of an aromatic force. Man can no longer get rid of a given materialistic feeling. He becomes materialistic of constitution and can no longer rise to the spiritual. You can't tell me that's not what we're looking at right now. You can't tell me that's not what's going on in America and around the world right now. So when I say this is spiritual warfare, I take this personal because I'm a soldier of God, for God. I used to be a soldier for Black people, but not anymore. You saw the Black woman riding around in, I think that was Maryland, trying to push that poison on her own people. I'm not for, my modus operandi is not on behalf of Black people. It's on behalf of the Most High and of truth. Families ostracized us, told us we couldn't come around. Families got divided, separated. These motherfuckers offered y'all donuts and hamburgers. If I had that shit in my body, I'd be hell on wheels. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way my son would have ever gotten it. That's first and foremost. Not ever, 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 ever. My son got accepted to multiple colleges, great schools, 6 in total, including Morehouse College, which was the one that I wanted him to go to, until I found out that all of the HBCs were the first ones to mandate the shot. So let me bring this back because we're not even on the shot yet. This is part 1 of Illuminati 2.0, which is the Kingdom Within web series. This is part 2 right here, the parasitic nature of the Matrix. Part 3 is the Jim Jones juice, which is the shot. So we ain't even there yet. I just painted a picture of what was COVID, a group of symptoms. What caused it? The white lines in the sky, the 5G towers, the situation in Wuhan, the masks, the PCR test, and fear. %70 of 8 billion people is 5.5 billion human beings. In the first round of the tests, and I get into this in the later aspects of the presentation, in the first series of the shots that were given, 30% of them were placebo. This is how the gain of function process unveils, right? So everybody who took that first round didn't get the shot. If you didn't have any symptoms at all, like no pain in your arm, a lot of people just had pain, certain, maybe one side of their body felt stiff or felt numb for a certain amount of time, you probably got a placebo, unless you went back to get the second and the third one. So this is a controlled demolition, very strategic. This shit's been planned for 100 years. Hospital protocols, we went through that. $100,000 went to the hospitals. If you went from getting a test to being given remdesivir to having a mechanical ventilator, yes, I'm telling you in no uncertain terms that they unalived. And a lot of the people in the hospitals didn't even know. How did you end up being a doctor or a nurse and you couldn't see this coming? These are the people that are respected in our societies. The politicians, the people in government, the lawyers, the doctors, the medical practitioners, the ones who were dancing in TikTok videos and Instagram. They had a strategic layout. You go in, you got a fever, you can't taste anything, you can't smell anything. What is happening to me? I need to go see the doctor. Oh my God, you have COVID. You just tested positive for COVID. Depending on your symptoms, how bad they were, depending on whatever was going on in your body, this whole technology is about weaponizing people's sickness from beginning to end. I'll get into that when I get into the shot. So depending on the severity of whatever your symptoms were, the doctors and the nurses determined if they needed to take you to the next step, which was remdesivir, which flooded the internal organs. And then, of course, that exasperated the situation in your body. And then what did they do? They put you on a medical ventilator, and they got paid for every fucking step of the way. Where are we at on time? At 2 hours. Okay. I'm gonna fall back on this Kingdom Within web series. There's so much. Listen, family, I'm just gonna show you guys a little bit. Dr. Brian Artist, this is a video right here for my members in my membership channel that he breaks down all of the hospital protocols. In part 2, the parasitic nature of the matrix, part 2 and part 3. I'm not gonna get into all of this because listen, it's a lot. This part is the first one was 2 hours and 27 minutes. The second one is 2 hours and 35 minutes. I get more so in the spiritual aspect of this, particularly as when we start talking about gene splicing, when we start talking about the SM102 chromosome 8, this technology that goes in and removes chromosome 8, replaces it. This is talking about the neurological behavioral impact, right? Energy vampires, the collective consciousness, all life is frequency-based, the spike protein and nanotech, impact on the lungs and central nervous system, long-term NOVID, graphene oxide, mRNA technology, war on the breath and blood, self-replicating inoculations, magnetic radiation, the pineal gland and mind control, genocide in Rwanda, and more. Part 3, which is an hour and 10 minutes when I close it out, self-replicating shots, magnetic vax, airline pilots, what's really going on, athletes and heart attacks. You guys do know that there's thousands of athletes, including Bronny James, LeBron James' son. That's why I'll never rock with him again. You put your son on the line. USC, they mandated those shots. I don't know if that was a humiliation ritual, if that actually happened, but yeah, I don't with people like that. Athlete, black, rich, or not. You put your son on the line. And now he's in a whole other humiliation ritual tied to Kobe Bryant, but more on that later. Genetic manipulation and harvesting silicone fibrous substances in victims. The shit that coroners are pulling out of these people's bodies. Start talking about transhumanism. VMAT2 chromosome and the God gene, frequency wars, and much more. It says this one is 3 hours. Oh, it is. This was 3 hours and 20 minutes too. Okay, so I was on a certain section because I think I wanted to show you guys something in particular there. But that's for another time. Because I want to try to stay on point. But this, if you send me an email, info@zazali.com, I'll send you the link and you can watch all of these, all of it. It's all there. This is 7 hours and 10 minutes of my life's work and my life's research that I poured into this. Let's come back to today. I just, y'all, I'm like sweating right now. Please don't send me anything, Hotspot Casino. I don't need any more information. I'm not saying I know everything. You don't have to send me a plethora of anything. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of, I'll say 1,000. I have 4 hard drives full of content. I have so much content and information on this. I have scavenged every aspect of the internet, of social media for 6 years straight, just pertaining to this. I've been studying the technology in these shots for 20 years. I don't need you to send me anything. I need you to support me. That's what I need. I need y'all to support me. And I don't just mean financially. I mean like sharing my content, sharing my videos, sharing my page, sharing my shit. I've been doing this for a long time now, and I have not been getting the support from my people like I should be.
Free fries when you get vaccinated?
Fucking beaches, arresting them. I remember because I got threatened with a fine of $700,000 per unvaccinated employee that I told them to eat a fucking dick.
Get in your house now! Let's go! Light him up! Get in the house!
You want to come to this college?
So, Higgy ha ha, official XDAC. I don't know what that's about, but I'm going to go ahead and ban you in my comments because I don't, you know what I mean? What does that even mean? This is some serious shit. I don't know if you're being funny or you playing or you trying to be funny, but don't play with me right now. I can tell, I'm sure you guys can look at my face and tell that I'm not in play mode. I got jokes. I got a light, funny element about me, but I have a different type of gear and I'm in that gear right now. So please don't play with me. This is some serious shit.
Buddy, you're going to get vaccinated. When you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
Had the fucking men of this country not gone along with it, it would have never happened. So if we really want to blame someone, we blame ourselves for not having the courage to stand up and tell people to shut the fuck up.
Playing in your face, playing in our face. It's a game. Thumbing their nose up at us. Fauci is the fall guy. This video right here really just, woo. That ain't the one. Hold on, let me pull it up. It's his sister in the doctor's office. And mind you, I ain't even really got into the nitty gritty about Dr. Fauci and the hearings and all of that. I know you guys know about it. I have it geared up here, but I just, you know what I mean? It's just a lot going on right now. Thank you so much, Tamika. I appreciate you. I got your email address. I'll make sure you get that information. Thank you so much, Harnessing Energy. I appreciate the love. And I responded to your email too. You sent me such a beautiful email. It touched my heart so much. Thank you so much. I got it and I responded to you too. Let me pull up this video of this sister. Where's she at? I just had it. I have a video footage of Lollapalooza in Chicago too, which really pissed me off.
A co-vaccination could cause or trigger this disease. And before you answer, I was completely healthy until I was vaccinated.
She's talking to her doctor. She has somebody with her that's filming this interaction. She took the shot and she's telling her doctor about the negative impact that she thinks that the shot is having, and she's trying to ask her doctor if she thinks that it's related.
That a co-vaccination could cause or trigger this disease. And before you answer, I was completely healthy until I was vaccinated. I want to cry, sorry. Sorry. Until I was vaccinated. I had no issues. And then I got the Pfizer. I'm sorry. It's okay. In April and May of 2021. And I started experiencing issues later on that year. And then was hospitalized. And then I went in one way and came out a different way. And it was never the same. But I did nothing different but get vaccinated. That's all I did. And I thought I was crazy because when I was hospitalized, I would tell the nurses and the doctors, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this is, but I got vaccinated. It got to be this. And they were like, what? Here I am 4 years later. I've virtually met people all over the country via my social media. We have the same story. Do you truly believe that the vaccination could have kind of triggered the myositis?
Sure. I think globally speaking, I think there's a lot that we don't understand about how the immune system works or why it works in certain ways sometimes. SRP myositis, as you know, is incredibly rare condition to have. I certainly think and know that, I mean, when you get a vaccination, your immune system interacts with that and then shifts and changes based off of that encounter. We encounter things in our everyday life that are foreign and abnormal. I don't think that you're crazy. Certainly, if you have something that happened to you and there's like a before time and an after time, and that's all we have to associate it with, I think that's like a very logical way to think. To be completely honest, I have no idea, and it's impossible for us to say for sure it was this thing. Like I mentioned, we encounter a lot of things that we don't realize that we encounter in our day-to-day. People have reactions to vaccinations all the time. So I don't think that you're crazy at all in feeling that way or thinking that way. It's our brain trying to make logic of what's happened and why it has happened.
It's just me trying to point the finger.
Yeah, and that's a very logical way to think and feel, and it's human nature. If there was like a test or some way to know, of course that would be an ideal way to identify, but it's impossible for us to say, was it something in that vaccine? Was it something you had a genetic background that predisposed you to this, and environmentally you were around this other thing that you might not have thought about at the same time.
There's millions of people all over the world. Millions of people all over the world. Shayla, I got you, sis. You didn't put your email address in the payment. So screenshot your Cash App and email me. Email it to me, info@zazali.com, and I got you covered. You hear this, the way this lady just played in this woman's face? So the hearings, I saw somebody in the chat room talk about the hearings. What are my thoughts on the hearings? This is way bigger than just Dr. Fauci. I guarantee you this doctor, if she's the one who inoculated this woman, got a payment. So we're talking about doctors, nurses, medical practitioners. We're talking about our family members. We're talking about people in the school systems. We're talking about all of the representations in terms of our society who were involved in this. I mentioned yesterday the Georgia Guidestones. They blew up the Georgia Guidestones. Thank you, Macon. I got you. Thank you guys so much for the love. I appreciate you guys. The Georgia Guidestones. They blew up the Georgia Guidestones. I've been to the Georgia Guidestones. They say that the goal is to keep humanity's population around 500 million. They blew them up. And now we don't even talk about it anymore. That place is in the middle of nowhere, and it has cameras everywhere. They blew them up. Why did they blow them up? Because they met their quota. I'm not trying to make you guys afraid. I'm trying to make you sit up straight. This shit is not a game. So somebody asked me, what are my thoughts on the Fauci situation? And let's play this video by one of the number one coons. Talk about Kyrie Irving just for a second. Now, you guys that were watching my content when this was happening, you can go to my Instagram page right now. I was riding for Kyrie. Still am. I ride for the people who are standing on the edge of having their whole entire lives getting shut down because they said no. And he said no emphatically. There's another tennis player from Australia too. I always forget his name. I'm always thinking about Dirk Nowitzki because his name is similar like that. But it's a white dude from Australia who did the same thing. He couldn't even get in certain countries because he wouldn't take that test, let alone play in the U.S. Open. All right. So I was riding hard for Kyrie Irving during that time when that happened to him. While all the other, I don't think I did this in the Kingdom Within web series, but definitely in some of my content, I talked about Jay-Z when Rockefeller did a job fair in New York. It was in like 2023, I think. And it was like, yeah, we're going to have all of these companies and it's going to be so this and all that. People like, yay, Jay-Z's doing something good for New York. And guess what it said on the flyer? Nobody read the fine print, apparently. I guess it was only me. Even when I posted about it, people were kind of like, a couple of brothers hit me up like, oh, well, maybe he didn't know, or maybe he didn't. What's the point of being a billionaire? What's the point of having all of this money if you can still get used and played by the devil and put poison in your people's arms? I mean, I don't know, maybe he's immune. He sold crack in our all across the East Coast, right? I saw Meek Mill talking about Jay-Z don't owe us an explanation about shit. Anybody who sold crack cocaine in the black community owes the black community. That's a whole nother conversation because I got a whole nother video set up for him. A whole nother conversation about that because Meek Mill just triggered me. I wasn't even going to talk about Jay-Z. Now I have to talk about it. You poked the bear. He did a job fair. Rock Nation did a job fair, age 12 and up. Mandatory show proof of vaccine. What are we doing here? And then black people showed up in droves in New York and talked about that shit. And notice how many black celebrities aren't talking about the Fauci trials. Notice how many black influencers aren't talking. I had a back and forth with my son about Jay-Z the other day. You know what I mean? I questioned him about some shit. I bet you he won't talk about this. I'm going to tell you, Fauci.
Who had the courage to say,
hold on,
bump that.
That's what this really is about, right? The Fauci. I'm going to tell you guys what I think about the Fauci hearings in just a second, but just let's just stay together.
One of those people at the forefront was Kyrie Irving. I bring his name up because I had my issues with him from a leadership standpoint. Never as a player, because he's sensational. But with him, in terms of leadership. And I didn't look at it as being courageous. I looked at it as being selfish. And I watched Dr. Fauci on Capitol Hill yesterday. And the person I thought about most was Kyrie Irving because of the heat that he was taking. And our folks were piling on because that was just the latest transgression in their eyes that he was committing and subjecting the public to. He refused the vaccine. New York City's mandate made him ineligible for home games. And he linked his stance to people losing jobs over vaccine mandates. In my opinion, particularly hindsight-wise, it didn't make him stubborn or selfish. It made him brave.
Respectfully, that shit don't mean nothing in hindsight. Means nothing in hindsight. I know what it feels like to stand up to that type of to stand up to that type of energy and that type of spirit. Thank you, Shayla. I got you, sis. Much love. I know what it feels like to stand up in that type of fire. It don't mean shit in hindsight, especially when you were on the wagon, when you were on the train. Remember, they're all dangerous. They're the problem. We need to gather them all and move them somewhere. Listen. Whew, okay, I'm gonna come to Fauci in just a second. Although he is just the fall guy. I don't know why this one keeps popping up. Y'all, I have so much info. I save everything. I have so much information. Oh, let me just show this real quick. This is Lollapalooza in Chicago last weekend. I think this is.
So humans can come together for just some goy fest, some bullshit, but they can't come together to take down what's destroying all of us. The top powers, the elites, the systems put in place to destroy us. They are
King Simon, peace to the God.
Putting it in our face. They don't care. Well, no, I'd rather go to Goy Fest. I'd rather go to Lollapalooza. I'm you. Listen, it's gonna come a day where the billionaires are gonna leave us on the surface to suffer with whatever mess they left behind for us, and they're gonna go in their underground bunkers. They're gonna go straight to Mars. They're gonna leave this shit, and we're gonna be the ones here to clean up the mess. We're gonna be the ones left to suffer. But this is what you guys want to do with your time. Honestly, I'm not even mad at the elites at this point. I'm just mad at the people because y'all don't want to do anything. Y'all don't want to do shit. Y'all just want to distract the mind away. Bro, humans are becoming wasted potential. If you guys don't do something now, it's going to be too late.
The concerts and the festivals were a critical part of them testing the technology, testing the swabs, testing the masks, testing the temperament of the people, right? The festivals, and I was watching it. Y'all know, if you were watching my content, I was like watching this stuff unfold. The Travis Scott concert. If y'all want me to do a separate video on this, I can, but it's just one of those videos I'll have to like put on my website and then just send you guys there, because that certain things you talk about. But the Travis Scott concert was absolutely 1000% a representation of them testing the technology of them. You had to either have 2 tests, meaning 2 PCR tests, or you had to have taken the shot. And in my mind, I was like, well, why would you accept the test without the shot? Because as you guys can see from all of the stuff that I just showed you, the test was a part of the process. The test was a way to infiltrate your system and to have that technology pass the blood-brain system and go up past the blood barrier, and go up in this area. Now we're playing around with the pineal gland, with the God consciousness, which is a physical apparatus. So you're sending a form of technology that has a 2-way transmission that can send a signal and beam a signal and send instructions, the devil is a wise scientist. I have to credit this motherfucker. You know what I mean? When I'm looking at this and when I'm studying it and when I'm realizing what I'm actually looking at, this mother is a genius, evil genius, wicked genius, yes, but a genius when it comes to moving. What does the Kabbalion say? The closer you are to the center, the freer you are. The further you are, and mind you, this is a book that was written by African scholars. Don't stop playing with me and making it seem like this was some Greek initiates. That, you know what I mean? I don't even need to get into all of that. But this is a book that comes from the wisdom of the metaphysics, spiritual scholars of Africa. It's a very complex, and I'll say complex because it's not, you know what I mean? You got to have done some studying before you start playing with this book. Reading, studying this book. The closer you are to the center, the freer you are. The closer you are to God, the more you represent your original mind, your original state of consciousness, the love frequency, operating in your heart chakra, knowing who you are, not letting these people play with you, play with your mind, play with your body, play with your spirit. The freer you are, the further you are from the center, the more in bondage. 70% of the people in the world took that shit. Thank you so much, 100 pages per day. I have to come back to you because I saw you and I appreciate you so much. Sending you positive vibes, Zaza. I downloaded the entire Fauci diary. There's over 1,000 pages. Search for Fauci diary PDF. Click on the PDF. Send it Rand Paul in the results. He released it. Now, thank you for that because that is one thing that I actually have not looked at. And let me write that in my notes because I was going to talk about it because I know that's what sparked all of this thing, but I haven't actually downloaded it and looked at it. So thank you very much for that, Jewel. And thank you so much for the support. I really, really, really appreciate you. And you always support me. And I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, Rudy. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's what we're here for. We keeping our foot on the devil's neck all day long. So, well, let me play this video real quick. And then I'm going to tell you guys about the actual hearings, which I should have started with that. But, you know, it is what it is.
Vaccinated. You are the problem. It is the unvaccinated who are the problem.
The truth. Maybe they should be shamed by the unvaccinated.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks.
We can't trust the unvaccinated.
The unvaccinated, a group that includes children and people acting like children.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated?
Oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly. Yes, they are.
Those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price.
The unvaccinated should be taxed. They should pay more for health care.
We need to start looking at the choice to remain unvaccinated the same as we look at driving while intoxicated.
Really, the only people dying are the unvaccinated. And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you.
We've got to shun folks. We've got to shun people into getting.
To shun those that refuse to get vaccinated.
The unvaccinated people have put us in the position that we're in now, and it is not a good place. You got to start telling people, if you don't get vaccinated, you can't come into this office or this place of business. If you don't get vaccinated, you can't come to work.
No, screw you.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger on that same type of frequency. So let me just take a second, right? Because I told y'all in the beginning, I'm not one of those people that's like, nah. We told y'all, like, nah, that shit is when you understand what's really going on, we're all on the Titanic. We're all on the same ship. Right? So there's nothing arrogant or haughty you know what I'm saying? This is not a time to be thumbing your nose up at people or to be saying, I told you so, even though I did tell you so. This is not a play type situation. This is not about being one of the ones who was right and all of that shit. I got people in my blood, in my family, people I've known my whole entire life who have that shit in their bodies. Anytime I get a call from somebody that I haven't talked to in a while, there's always this thing in the back of my mind. Thank you so much, God the Emperor. I appreciate you. I got your email address. I'll get your information out to you within the next 24 hours. This is not one of those, I told you so type of situations, because what I didn't show you guys, and maybe I should show you guys, I'm trying to be mindful of time. We're at 2.5 hours. If you want me to show it to you, I will. It's in the Kingdom Within web series. They call them vector vaccines, where they did these studies, these long-term studies. You know, they always use mice to study things before they implement them on humanity. So they did these long-term studies on mice in Australia, is where one of these studies went, the major study took place. And they found out how to vaccinate other people vicariously through close proximity of other people who have been vaccinated. I have the data and the information in the presentation. I'm not just saying shit and just talking because it sounds good. It's in the presentation. They figured out how to indirectly vaccinate other people by close proximity to somebody else who's been vaccinated. So what have I been saying for the last 2 years? You better be careful about having sex with people who took that shot. You better be careful having sex with people who took that shot. Husband, wife, spouse, girlfriend, jump off, random, long-term, short-term. The whole concept of having casual sex in 2026, yeah, you're definitely not paying attention. You meeting people and developing sexual relationships and having relationships with people, and you're not asking them if they took that shot. Yeah, you playing games. It's a real thing. I don't even want to, I was planning on getting into that, but I understand that a lot of us only have a certain amount of bandwidth to talk about a lot of this stuff, right? And I ain't trying to overwhelm you, because it's more important for you to feel confident and good about yourself, and for you to be on a higher vibration than it is for you to leave this conversation in fear, right? Me, I can deal with this. A lot of people can't. So
madness, this so-called pandemic, it was just a test balloon, a gigantic test balloon. Well, for what, you ask? Well, to see how far they could go, to see what exactly they would have to do to get free individuals in a free and democratic society to consent to being forced into compliance. That's what they were trying to establish. That's what they were trying to figure out. And they have figured it out. Trust me, they are much smarter now. The goal ultimately is to transform our free and democratic societies, into totalitarian societies. Their goal is to strip each and every one of us of our fundamental rights of freedom, democracy, the rule of law. They want to get rid of all of this. This whole COVID thing had never anything to do with public health. It never had anything to do with breaking waves. It always had to do with breaking people in order to make us a part of a mindless, malleable mass, which they can totally control, and we will be completely dependent upon this globalitarian elite. So I'm really imploring the people and all the peoples around the world, for God's sake, Stop giving your democratically elected governments the benefit of the doubt. They are not deserving of that. They are not. Stop rationalizing whatever your government is doing. Stop rationalizing and come up with some good intentions. They have no good intentions. Never. As I said before, in the entire history of mankind, there has never been a political elite concerned about the well-being of regular people. And it isn't any different now. Why should it? Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because I can tell you, you cannot comply your way out of a tyranny. It is impossible. Trying to do so, you will only feed a gigantic alligator in the hopes of being eaten last. But guess what? Your turn will come, and then you will be the one swallowed up.
I'm gonna get to the hearings in just a second, although I don't even, it's almost like I kind of already painted a picture for you guys. You should know what I think. I know that they're saying that he said he took the fifth 111 times, and people are honing in on the numeric value of that. I don't know if anybody has actually counted that. I'm talking about real life people, not what the media tells us. If anybody has actually counted the number of times that was repeated, I'm that skeptical, because they can be using that number to speak to each other, which they do, but that wasn't actually the data. And if that is the data and that was the intention, then that would mean that they scribed or pre-planned the number of actual questions that were asked and the number of actual times that he would respond to get to that number, right? I am that cautious and, skeptical when it comes to how I look at and how I see these things. But 111 being a number that they use to talk to each other, numeric value, gematria, all of those things, okay. But we don't need to quantify that he responded 111 times to know this dude worked for Satan. That's just another number way that they use to talk to each other so that they can high-five each other and remind each other who they control and that they're still controlling the game. But we didn't need to calculate that he responded 111 times to know that Satan was running this man and is running the show, right? Now, God body said, but Zaza, the shot is reversible and detoxable. It must be intentional with it, but that shot wasn't successful. I don't know but that shot wasn't successful. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means, because I can guarantee you the shot was absolutely successful, and it has absolutely had a very detrimental impact, and is still having an detrimental impact, and that impact is increasing by day. You also referenced zeolite detox for the shot and fasting. That is a part of the equation, but what I need for people to understand, this is a multi-throng, and let me pull my face back up so you guys can see me. This is a multi-throng situation. So it is, what they've done is they've weaponized people's sickness. So if you had herpes or if you had mumps, and I'm mentioning those two things specifically because they're under the same wheelhouse, but it was dormant in your body. It activates that dormant disease in your body and brings it to the surface, or activates it, but not just activates it supersized, right? If you had cancer, that was in remission, it activates activates it and magnetizes it and magnifies it in a way that it is supersized, right? I'm talking about underlying pre-existing conditions that were already in the body. So if that was the case, and there's like 100 other things, including myocarditis, including heart conditions, including a lot of other physical ailments in the body that a lot of times are lying dormant that people don't even know they have, and now they're showing up at the doctors, and the doctors are diagnosing them without making the connection to the shot, as we saw with the video of the sister, right, who all of a sudden didn't have any issues, and now all of a sudden she's having major issues, right? So the detox protocol is only part of the equation, because you also have to deal with the pre-existing condition. The spike protein that they put in the body from this inoculation not the spike protein, the technology that they put in the body that is called the spike protein is self-replicating and is in billions and billions and billions of spike protein in the bloodstream, right? Weaponize your sickness, but it also metastasizes and increases and replicates in low vibrational frequencies, in low vibrational energy, in toxic immune systems, right? So the body has to have a certain, just like the devil, right? The devil feeds off of energy where you're suffering, feeds off of pain, right? Feeds off of chaos, right? The devil, I'm talking about in real life, in real time. The technology in the shot is magnified and feeds off of low vibrational energy. So that means if you are in emotional turmoil, if you are in chaos, if you are in anger, right? If you are in any elevated, low vibrational, emotional frequency, it's feeding off of that and it's replicating. If you have fibroids, if you have tumors, if you have undeveloped lesions in the inner body, if you have sickness or disease in your body, it is metastasizing and self-replicating based on those things. So respectfully, and I know you mean well, and I'm actually going to get to that because I've written several articles of suggestions of things for people that I do, suggestions of things for people to do who have taken the shot. Do I think that you can't detox it? Absolutely not. Do I think you can't get this poison out of your body? Absolutely not. But I think we're oversimplifying what has happened and what they've put in people's bodies by saying you can detox by zeolite and fasting. It's not that simple. The technology is being activated by the frequencies in the cell phone towers. The LED lamps, you see these purple lamps that are being meticulously placed all over this country and all over the world? Yeah, those lamps have a certain frequency bandwidth that activate those particles in the body. And I'm not being, don't take my energy as me being combative towards you. I've been on this frequency the whole time. This whole video, I've been on 10. So this is not particular to you. I'm going to show a video from a woman that I follow who I respect her science a lot. And she gives a list of things that she recommends. But guess what? She says you have to do it for the rest of your life. This is not a one and done type situation. This is not a take a pill and fast for a month and you're good. There is a lot of layers to this: mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. When I get into the science of that VMAT gene, chromosome 8, and talking about this technology and going in and removing certain chromosomes, the God frequency is what they call it. The activity in the part of the brain and then the DNA that gets activated when you pray, when you meditate, when you're in nature, when you tap in with the Most High. Depending on where you are in your bandwidth of consciousness and whether you are what's the word I'm looking for? If you repent within yourself, I'm not talking about getting on your knees and going and stand in front of a cross. We're way past that shit. I'm talking about repent in your own mind and in your own heart and intentionally change the way you live your life. You got to change your whole the way you live. So this is the spiritual warfare aspect of it. This is deeper than just a one and done. This is deeper than just detoxing. That's the thing that I really am trying to, that's why I've let me show you the video of her while I'm on this subject. Her name is Barbara something. She's an older white lady, but she is on her shit. You guys have probably seen her or heard her before. And shout out to Dr. Alim Muhammad, Alim, A-L-I-M. He was definitely one of the brothers that was on the forefront in terms of exposing this stuff and being thorough in his science and in his research. Dr. Alim Muhammad, and there's another sister. Her name is Christina. I forget her last name, but she's a sister that was on top of her game too.
3 things that will inhibit the mRNA from continually producing the spike protein. So I'll give you the 3. One is zinc, And zinc is found in large amounts in pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds. Number 2 is dandelion. And a nice alternative to coffee is roasted dandelion. So whether that be the flower or the leaf or the root, the dandelion contains a plant chemical that inhibits the mRNA from reproducing the spike protein. And number 3 is white pine needle tea. If anyone has been blackmailed into taking the clot shot, they will need to take one of these for the rest of their life.
For the rest of
But
their
what an
life.
amazing body we have that has an inbuilt ability to develop. So these 3 all inhibit the process of the mRNA reproducing the spike protein.
Why do you have to take it for the rest of your life? Because it is programmed to consistently replicate and reproduce in the body. We're dealing with Christina Parks. That's her name. Exactly. Thank you, Warrior Poet. That's exactly what it is. Very thorough sister. She's a doctor. Why do you have to take it for the rest of your life? You know what I'm saying? This is talking about lifestyle. We're talking about lifestyle. Not to mention how long it's been since you took it. Not to mention how many you took. Right? Not to mention the pre-existing conditions, not to mention the quality of your life. If you're living in fear, that's a whole nother element of this. Natal kinase is another thing that, I forget the doctor's name. I just wrote this stuff down. I scribbled some notes down before I started this. Bromelain is another thing. Turmeric is another thing. I did articles. I did 2 separate articles. One of them is 6 pages where I went all into the science and the data. And then I did a separate one where I just did a 2-pager. If you got myocarditis, it's not going to just be a zeolite zinc type of situation. The heart is a very fragile, very, you know what I mean? Like once the heart gets scarred or gets damaged in a certain type of way, it's damn near impossible. McCullough, that's his name. See, this is how I know my audience. You know what I mean? My audience is operating in a different bandwidth of consciousness, and I take pride in that shit. And I'm not saying they know it because of me. I'm saying they know it because they know it. Peter McCullough, exactly. If you have myocarditis or a heart situation, the heart is a very fragile organ. Let me bring myself up so you guys can see me. There's a different way that you have to handle that, especially depending on the level of experience that your body is having, right? So, and I believe in the Most High. So for me, I operate on faith first. So for me, if I was in those shoes, yeah, there wouldn't be any stone. Elijah Muhammad said you should go as far as Japan to obtain wisdom and knowledge. I'd be in every book. I'd be researching to the end of the world and back. And you couldn't tell me I couldn't get it out of my body. But you have to have that level of surety. And then fasting consistently. We should be fasting anyway. But remember, we're out in the world where there's a soup of this shit. So we're breathing it in. I showed in the last news drop, Wells Fargo talking about using smart dust to be able to ascertain which one of their, as a way of like weeding through and figuring out which client is in compliance and which is not. They're only disclosing that shit because they've been doing it for 30 years. We've been breathing it in for 30 years. We're breathing in a variant of this technology. So if you've taken the shot, and you're still breathing in the technology, guess what? That means that's why she said you have to do it for the rest of your life. I'm just saying. And please don't take my passion as, I have to say this because I know somebody sometimes might feel like I'm like in attack mode or anything. I'm not. I'm just, this conversation is very, very near and dear to me. And I've been researching this for a long time. Morgellons disease, which we talked about earlier in the video, most of those people couldn't get cured. Rashad Buttar, exactly, and he transitioned. He's not even with us anymore. And he was a brother, an Indian brother, but still a brother. He's not even with us anymore. There was a German scientist, I forget his name. One of you guys might know it, but he He was so hardcore in his shit, he never was able to make the mainstream. Dr. Buttar was made the mainstream. Christina, in a certain regard, made the mainstream. This guy, when he got into talking about, and I get into this in the Kingdom Within web series, but I won't talk about this now because I don't really want to, you know what I mean? I'm trying to stay in a certain lane. Yeah, he was on live and they sent the police in his house while he was live and shut his whole shit down. That's how powerful and important, but how, you know what I mean? There's levels to this, right? So what she's talking about in terms, she said zinc, she said dandelion, and she said nettle, she said pine tea. Peter McCullough, thank you for that, dropping that, said the nattokinase as well as the bromelain as well as turmeric. And in the article that I wrote, I give several other resources in particular because I was trying to find the doctors and the scientists that have history in nanotechnology. I wanted to have resources from people that know how that technology works. It is a two-way transmission. The same way when I talk about the nanotechnology in the sky and how they can basically give instructions to guide storms, right? To steer clouds, to steer storms, to steer weather. Yeah, it's like if you had a drone, or is it maybe a drone is a bad example. If you could control a drone. You can control a drone by a device, by your computer device or your phone or your iPad or whatever. And so you're controlling it. It's the same thing with this technology, right? And so even with these detox processes, we have to be mindful that we're breathing this shit in. And that's the other aspect of this. And then not to mention going out into the world and having, I've read so many testimonies from women who did not take the shot, who have had miscarriages, who have had multiple periods in 1 month. Somebody told me Netflix did a documentary. I got to look for that because that's a whole nother, you know what I mean? When Netflix starts talking about it, it's like, yeah, they want us to know. They want to normalize it, right? Women having experienced heavily painful and passing clots the size of golf balls. Girls who haven't even started their periods passing clots the size of golf balls, who haven't taken a shot. Just from being in close proximity to people who've taken it. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? And again, do I believe that you can't get it out of? Of course not. Absolutely not. Fasting for sure will be the first thing I'm recommending. The bentonite clay detox, which I've been telling you guys about since forever. I've shown the clay since forever. This is the book, right? So we've been on this on my channel with my audience for 15 years. Bentonite clay detox. Bentonite clay contains zeolite. Bentonite clay is formed from volcanic ash, which I think God, the Most High, Mother Nature, is going to use to neutralize the HAARP and part of the technology in the sky. But that's another topic for another day, right? You notice what who referenced this? I'm getting how far the video going back before, right? How far could they go? How far could they get us to go? Which means that was like sort of a test run. They wanted to see what they could get away with. In my mind, that means, oh, you're planning something else. Okay, consent. She mentioned consent. Now, remember, yes, magnesium as well. She mentioned consent. Remember let me take Barbara down. And I put her, that's her name right there, Barbara Walker, right? And any woman who is like dealing with menopause and perimenopause, that's her wheelhouse. She deals specifically in women's health, right? Women in general. And then she also specializes in perimenopause, menopause, right? So that's her bandwidth. But then also you heard the jewels that she dropped there. Remember in Sinners, you had to give the, what was his name? I want to say Moloch, because I'm thinking about Moloch, because I'm thinking about Travis Scott, because he had all of the physical symbolism and representation of Moloch, which is about sacrificing children to a demon. And then they say 11 people died, multiple children, but there's a lot of evidence that a lot more people died at that concert than just 11 people, right? Remember, he had the huge screen in the background, these plasma screens, millions of LED lights that are all laced with 5G technology. It was mandated that you had to either have had 2 PCR tests or you had to have taken a shot to come to the concert. I'm not sure about Astroworld. Yes, I'm not sure about Great Plains brand. The only brand I use is headtotoeproducts.com. That's their website. That is grade A calcium bentonite clay. You can drink it, you can eat it, you can put it on your body, you can use it for everything, you can bathe in it. That is the only clay that I recommend. If they have a good brand, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And you guys can look that up and see if that'll work for you. For me, Head to Toe Products is the only company that I use. And I'm not an affiliate. They don't pay me for representing them or for promoting their product. But it's the only one that I use. Headtotoeproducts.com. What was I saying? Damn. Sinners. What was the guy's name? Not Moloch. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the white dude. The chief devil. You had to invite him in for him to have power. And the spiritual warfare aspect of this is that 70% of the world population, through ignorance, whether they knew or they didn't know, invited him in. Now, some people found grace or the blessing or the Most High, or got lucky if they got a placebo, which is a blessing for sure. I feel like that's God looking out for you, right? But I would not be taking any shots moving forward. Not one. Not to go to Africa, not to go to South America, not to go to Asia, not to go anywhere. If it's required, then I'll just find another way. Well, how will you find a way? I'll just determine that I'm going, and that nothing and nobody is going to get in the way of me going. And then I'll go. Ramic. Exactly. Yeah. So I wrote the article. If you email me, I'll send it to you, info@zazaali.com. We just gave the references for the Barbara and her vantage point. I also have a thing from Peter McCullough in my article, because Peter McCullough is a heart specialist. And so if you have heart problems or heart issues pertaining to this, you got to do what we're talking about, but then you also got to step your game up in other ways, because the heart is a very fragile and delicate organ. And there's certain steps that have to be taken, and he's a specialist. So I would refer you to Peter McCullough to get the wisdom of his research and his expertise as it pertains to the heart, right? So this is a few things I wanted to highlight, just that I put in my notes, right? We talked about the hospital protocols, right? We talked about the remdesivir. We talked about the ventilators. We talked about the cell phone towers. We talked about Wuhan. We talked about the white lines in the sky, right? We talked about fear and the role that played. We talked about gain of function. We talked about the concept of the rabid dog, right? We talked about the patents, or I had a couple of patents. I didn't even get into that, but I think I've made my point. And again, if you want to watch that full Kingdom Within web series, it's on my website. You just got to email me so I can send you the link. I'm trying to keep my digital footprint small after being censored for so long. That's the only reason why I didn't put it in the description, because AI is, we love AI, right? But AI means that there's no boundaries. There's no privacy anymore. So the minute that I drop a link in my description that's taking you to somewhere where I'm talking about things that a lot of people shouldn't be, that, the algorithm doesn't want us to talk about, now that's, that's putting a target on my back, and I can't afford to do that again with what the price that I paid in the last few years. James, thank you so much. I got your Cash App and your email address, and all of you guys, I will get those links to you to download the ebook version of Ancient People, 111-page version of my textbook. That's the way that I asked everybody to support me in this video. If you Cash App me $15, which is more than half off of the actual ebook, and send me your email address in the description, in the next 24 hours, I will send you the information to download the ebook. And that's like love, reciprocity, or you can just shoot me a Cash App, super chat, super stickers, all the things, because you see that I've been researching this for a long time. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. And I paid a heavy price at the same time, being censored for 2 years. Remember the profile pics of all of the people who were saying they were vaccinated. There were some high profile Black people in the conscious community in particular who did that are not with us anymore. We didn't talk about it. Remember the misinformation banners. Anytime you mention COVID or you mention anything pertaining to COVID, the mask, the PCR test, they slapped the misinformation banner on your video or your post. Remember all of the sudden deaths? You notice that terminology doesn't even pop up anymore? Remember all we were hearing about was sudden deaths? Remember the news reporters who were fainting? Remember the athletes, all of the athletes, including, what was his name? Buffalo Bills. What was his name, y'all? It's on the tip of my tongue. Remember, he passed out on the field. He was dead allegedly for 9 minutes, and then they resuscitated him and brought him back to life. He had a heart condition. He's never been the same since, but they paid him very well. It was during the Buffalo Bills. Damon Harmon or Damon, something to that effect. What was his name, you guys? I know y'all remember. I think they beamed the frequency at that brother. I think they beamed the frequency. And I think that was a ritual that happened at that game. And I did a whole, Damar Hamlin, exactly. I did a whole expose on that. They had somebody who wasn't even him show up at the game and pretend it was him. They had the snow and they were showing these footage in the background, like you can see him, but you can't see him. This is Hollywood. This is theater. Damar Hamlin. Have you heard anything from him lately? Bronny James, LeBron James' son, had a heart attack at 18, playing for USC while he was in practice. Have you heard anything else about that? There's videos of athletes all around the world, Black athletes in America in particular. I'm saying that because, you know what I mean? These are people. These are the ones that we're supposed to be riding for, right? Passing out on the field. Some of them didn't live. So, Fauci, coming back to the hearing, because somebody asked for my perspective, and that is what this is all about, right? Even though I've been talking about him this whole entire time. He's the fall guy. When I read the passage from Ralph Steiner, I believe that was his name, he wrote that book 100 years ago and talked about what was happening right now would be happening in order to disconnect humanity from the soul. Disconnect human beings from their soul using vaccines 100 years ago. Fauci is just one spoke in a very large wheel. That whole thing was smoke and mirrors. What it is that all the people who are asking the tough questions, right? Well, what about the mandates? What about the 6 feet? You lied about the masks. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You lied. They said this. They said that. It's all disclosure. They're telling you exactly what they did right in front of your face. And everybody's like, Fauci, you know what I mean? He pled the fifth. He's a liar. He's a this, he's a that. That is disclosure. That is, here's what we did. That is, this is exactly how we did it. And what are you going to do? It's disclosure. It's what it is. It's disclosure. It's smoke and mirrors. It's to keep people focused in a certain direction and to keep people agitated and frustrated and irritated. Meanwhile, the band plays on. Meanwhile, the agenda continues to unfold. Because you notice they ain't having no hearings about 5G cell phone towers. That's the hearing I want to hear. I want to see a hearing about chemtrails. I'd be impressed then. It's a dog and pony show. You notice how he disappeared. We didn't see anything from him for like 2 or 3 years. And now they're like, all right, Fauci, you're up. Lights, camera, action. It's a game. It's theater. They're thumbing their noses up at us. They've indirectly, they're at war with God. They know they only have a certain amount of time to rule. So they're leaving it all on the field and taking as many souls with them as they can possibly get. Sudden Death Group had over 500,000 members reporting death in their families after taking the shot. I had another video of this very prominent doctor in this world that the people who are paying attention to was very thorough. I was going to play that video, but I don't want to scare people with the number of people that he claims are no longer with us, because I can't verify it, for one. The CDC statistics when it comes to deaths and adverse reactions only represent 1% of the actual number. So if you wanted to figure it out, you could. I know people don't want to know. 1% of actual reported deaths and adverse reactions make it to the CDC's statistics. And that shouldn't be far-fetched, because we did the whole rundown on how the hospitals and the doctors were being compensated. So why would they turn around after getting $100,000 for taking somebody's life and they reported the actual information when their job is supposed to be to save lives? What makes us think that the doctors who have now shown themselves to be NPCs and have worked for Satan, what is their benefit to tell us the truth about how many of their patients didn't turn out so well? So I can't verify the number. It's a staggering number. And here we are. Just lit an incense, cinnamon. So that's what I think about the Fauci hearings. It's smoke and mirrors. It is disclosure. They're telling you what they did. They're telling you some of what they did. They're not telling us all, because the ultimate goal is transhumanism, which is another reason why transgender people are so greatly protected in the society, because it is a prerequisite for that reality. Non-gender based, no male, no female. A representation of human beings that is not gender oriented. They don't want men and women coming together and reproducing themselves. They want blended, if you will. And this is the irony, because this goes back to the original, it's said that the original gods or the original people were there's a word for it that's escaping me. I want to say anthropomorphic, but I don't know if that's it. But there was a representation of humanity that was both male and female before it split off, right? And even in the zeitgeist, when you understand when a child forms in the if a boy is originally, before it starts to form, it actually is considered a female, right? In terms of the DNA aspect. The zeitgeist is what it's called. But what they want is to take away humanity's ability to reproduce itself. So transgender is a prerequisite for transhuman. Androgynous, yes. Not to be disrespectful to Foxy, but how much did Daddy? Okay, so I think you responded to somebody in the chat room. So let me get to the spiritual aspect of this, and then I'm going to leave you guys, right? Because I don't want to leave any of us feeling fearful or feeling hopeless or any of that, right? Yeah, Obama played his role. Trump played his role in Warp Speed, in Operation Warp Speed. That's why we know this is way bigger than just politics. And then you have RFK now making his rounds. It's good cop, bad cop, right? But RFK is only going to say so much. He's not going to tell you the real death count. He's not going to tell you the real number of adverse injuries. He's not going to tell you the real technology that's in the shot, right? It's good cop, bad cop. It's to keep you believing in the system, to keep you believing that you've got a man on the scene. And he's a horrible speaker. I mean, no disrespect. I know he's been through some health complications, but for somebody playing that position and having that role, you need a person who can speak with clear and concise language to keep people engaged, to keep people paying attention. He is respectfully not that. And he's the only thing about Trump's presidency that I was like, okay, well, maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel, right? But he is not a good orator. And we need people that are bringing these things to light to be able to speak truth to power, but to say it in a clear and concise way, not for me to have to put my ear all the way up to the TV like this to understand what this dude is saying. I had a video of him. I have it saved, but I'm not going to play it because I think we've made our point at this point. So let's get to the spiritual aspect of this. Let me just make sure I covered all bases. I know several people who had cancer that was in remission, that took multiple shots, that are no longer with us. I've had at least 10 clients over the last 3 years who have family members who took the shots that are no longer with us. There's a thing called turbo cancer. The numbers and statistics of people that have mortal forms of cancer has greatly increased over the last few years. And the irony is that these people are not putting 2 and 2 together. They're not making the correlation between the fact that they put that poison in their bodies and now all of a sudden they got a weird form or a new form of cancer out of nowhere. So going back to what we talked about with the way that they can go in and take certain genes out and disconnect you from source, like, yeah, they disconnected you from your common sense too, apparently. To whom it may concern. Fear is the ultimate weapon that has been used and that's going to be used in these next, between 2026 and 2030. We say I say the devil came up from behind the curtain in 2020, 2026 to 2030. This mother is about to be on 1,000. But also the smoke and mirrors and the games that are being played and the bread and circus aspect is, look at all the sport, look at all the hoopla around sports and entertainment over these last few months. We got the FIFA World Cup, we got the NBA Finals, we had the Super Bowl earlier. And it's not, I know it's not just me, because I've loved sports my whole life. I tapped out after the pandemic, after what they did to Kyrie and the whole idea of having a fake audience in the background, and you got fake applause, and you put on your mask while you sit down, and then when you get up to play, you take your mask off, was like the corniest shit ever. You go to a restaurant. They have restaurants in California where you got to wear your mask until your food comes, and then your food comes, and you can take your mask off and eat. Listen, Rakan Ramen in Redondo Beach. Oh, I gave their asses an earful and made everybody in the restaurant feel stupid. They should have felt stupid. Are you kidding me? You want me to put on a mask and wear a mask while I sit and wait for the food that I ordered. And then when the food comes, I can take the mask off and eat it? Do I look stupid to you? That's what I asked the waiter. And he was an Asian. He was not ready for the energy that I brought. But yeah, you're going to get this smoke today. And then I elevated my voice because everybody sitting around me with a mask on, especially you guys with children, you should feel stupid. And I want to make sure that I leave you. I want to leave an impression. It's absolutely insane. Children in class in school wearing face masks. Do you understand how detrimental and how unhealthy it is to wear a face mask for any possible reason? Now, if you're in a fire environment or somewhere where there's volcanic ash or heavy plumes of smoke, of course, as a recourse to protect you from your lungs being inundated with something toxic and dangerous that's in the environment. For 8 hours a day at a job or at school, when you understand the science of breath, and we wonder why all these people have all these respiratory illnesses now, yeah, checkmate. It's insane. Sometimes I feel so alone. You know what I mean? And I'm saying that as a joke because I know I'm not, because obviously my audience alone, but listen, it's insane. I was supposed to go to Hawaii. I bought a ticket, spent $500, and they wanted you to have a PCR test. And so I found out that there are tests that you could use saliva for instead of having that swab. So I ordered the test. I paid like $75 for 2 of them. They arrived at my house. I still got them somewhere. But in my mind, I was like, I don't even want to be in that system. I don't even want you checking for me. I don't even want you to see my name. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, get thee behind me, Satan, at every turn. And lost my $500 that I spent on my ticket for Hawaii. I didn't even go. I had a credit for a year. I was supposed to be going out there to see my folks, and I didn't even go because I just was way too paranoid and way too cautious. I'm not playing with y'all like that. And I know that's not your point. You just said Hawaii and you made me think about it. So let's get to the spiritual aspect of this, and then I'm going to let y'all go because it's 9:12 Pacific Standard Time, and I've been speaking for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Right? And I appreciate everybody tuning in. Please like this video. I don't even know if the video is going to survive the night. Chris Brown got a song called Survive the Night. It's one of my favorite songs of his. I don't even know if this video is going to survive the night. If it does, I'll just put it on my website and I'll post a 30-second video and say, hey guys, they took it down. Go watch it here. And then you can just watch it on my website. It costs me money to run my website. So now, you know what I mean? This is the logistics of business. So Cash Apps, Super Chats, Super Stickers, all of the love that I've gotten from you guys, I'm so grateful for. What I asked in the beginning is to support me by purchasing the ebook version of my Ancient People textbook. $15, Cash App only. Send me your email address in the subject, and in the next 24 hours, I'll send you guys instructions on how to download your copy. It's $15. I don't think that's too much to ask. For 20 years of research and for 3.5 hours of my time and energy, you know, reciprocity is the name of the game, and it's worth it. Once you get the textbook, you'll understand, and then you can print it and, you know what I mean? Distribute it as you as you see fit. So spiritually, fear is the name of their game. What's the opposite of fear? Love. So love is the frequency that we need to tap into. Love between a man and a woman, yes. Love between a mother and child, yes. Love between a father and child, yes. Love between your fellow human being, yes. Love for Black people, yes. Love for our culture, yes. Love for your work and your business and what you do, yes. Love for the things that you create and the things you produce, yes. Love for Mother Nature. Yes, I love science, as you can probably tell. So every time I go knee deep in this and I'm researching and I'm bringing all this stuff to the forefront, I'm in alignment with my calling. Love for God, the Most High. Yes. Love for history. Yes. Love for truth. Yes. If you're not living in truth, it's going to be very difficult to be in my space at this point in time. Your health and well-being is paramount right now, whether you took the shot or not. Fasting is paramount right now, whether you took the shot or not. Heavy metal detoxing is critical right now, whether you took the shot or not. Whatever you fear of being alone, fear of not living up to your potential, fear of dying alone, fear of water shortages and AI. Why would I ever be afraid of AI? AI can't hold compared to my mind, I don't think so. It's not even close. Fear of food shortages, fear of the white man, fear of the devil, fear of your inability to control your anger and your emotions, fear of never finding somebody to love, fear of whatever, however the fear represents itself. You got to deal with that shit right now. The grace period started in 2020. That was the time when we were all supposed to sit down and get serious, and most people didn't. Alcohol sales skyrocketed. Porn skyrocketed. Domestic violence skyrocketed. But so did fear. So dealing with whatever the fear is that you're grappling from your childhood, from your past relationship, from your divorce. You know how many women I talk to that they're sitting around listening to the professional podcasters, aka peons, that got them feeling nervous and self-conscious about not being able to find a man because they are a single mother and they don't have children, or because they're a certain age. You letting these Rudy Boots, as we used to call them, Rumpelstiltskins, professional peons, get in your mind and have you thinking that God is not wise enough and savvy enough to create an equally yoked partner for you. I rebuke that shit in the name of Imhotep. Whatever the fear is, we got to deal with it. We got to conquer. We got to tap into nature and tap into something greater than ourselves. And if you live in a major city, these cell phone towers is a part of this. This is the next part of this activation phase, so to speak. If you live in an inner city, in a major city, and you plan on staying there, then you really need to fortify your household with crystals, with copper, with EMF, organite, copper. I don't know if I said that. All of the things, and there's plenty of information and data. And I've talked about this till I was blue in the face. Not till I was blue in the face, I'm being dramatic, but I've talked about this extensively in terms of combating these frequency wars from the towers, from the Wi-Fi routers, from the screens. That's another thing. I've been sitting here with you guys for 3.5 hours. I got a ring light, I got this monitor, and then I got that monitor, and then I got my cell phone right in front of me. So again, I'm taking one for the team. My frequency's too high, but still, it does affect me. So make sure you guys reciprocate, okay? Bentonite clay fasting is critical right now. You got to learn how to be quiet and be still so you can get the downloads from the Most High. God is telling us, always trying to tell us, always trying to nudge us when to stay and when to go. You're going to have a higher level of fifth gear in terms of your spiritual awareness. My fifth gear in terms of my spiritual awareness was on 1,000 in 2020. I didn't even know what I was looking at, and I knew what I was looking at. I saw the devil come straight up out the TV. He didn't even stand the TV because he knew it was going to take more to convince me. This nigga, excuse me, my language. I think I'm being a little bit more free because I know this video is going to be demonetized, so I don't care. But this dude crawled out of the TV on some scary movie type shit and tried to come up in my house to convince me. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Get thee behind me, Satan. Get thee behind me, Satan is the frequency. Get thee behind me, Satan is the bandwidth of consciousness. Whether Satan shows up in the presence of your parents or your job, you can't, if you're still afraid to lose a job, if they hit us with another round of mandates, what then? Fear is the ultimate power source. When I say Hollywood is Satan's vision board, I mean that shit. If they can get you to believe in the illusion, you are creating the illusion with your mind in your world in real time. So if Hollywood is Satan's vision board, who's creating God's? That's the type of time I'm on. Who has the audacity to even think about the concept of creating a vision board on behalf of the Most High? I have to be honest, I do. They're getting ready to drag these celebrities, your favorites, your faves, they're getting ready to humiliate them in front of the world. Diddy was just the start. Harvey Weinstein was just the start. They're getting ready to be toppled in 2026 and 2027. Mark my words, because the movie is live now. We used to have to watch the docuseries and the ID channel and HBO and Cinemax and Netflix, right? In order to get the movie. Now the movie is live. We're in the movie. When you hashtag, you're participating in the film. So Diddy was the rollout, the unveiling. So pay attention to how much energy Jay-Z is getting in the collective consciousness. I played a video of Beyonce's opening in her Renaissance tour. in the opening, go watch the trailer. You know, before she comes out, they play this whole, I think it's like a 7-minute film. In this film, they show her morphing into a robot, half woman, half robot, and she's riding a needle. Go watch it. They're all playing their position. So how about the loyalty we have for Black celebrities? We start having that loyalty for one another. How about the money that we spend on these festivals and concerts? We start pouring them into Black and African-centered schools in our communities. Otherwise, I'm not impressed by any of this shit. It's time for the gods and the goddesses and the queens and the kings and the powerful men and women amongst us, particularly the ones who did not fall for the okie doke in 2020. I tip my hat to you. I bow. Namaste. Namaste. So if you didn't fall for that psychological warfare, if being separated and divided from your family, if losing your job, if not being able to travel, if not being able to go out and do what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it, if everything that they threw at you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, physically did not sway you, namaste. We are the ones that the world has been waiting for. And on that note, ZazaAli.com is my website. info@ZazaAli.com is my email address. Buy the ebook, support me, Cash App $15. Send me your email address in the subject. 24 hours, you'll have your copy to download. Cash App is in the description. Super chats, super stickers, all the things. Everybody who sent any type of love today, I am so grateful for you guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I've talked for 3.5 hours. My voice is done. I have nothing left. I left it all on the field. And I'll probably come back and do a part 2 to this because there's so much I didn't even talk about. But for now, I'm going to bid you beautiful people farewell. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys very soon. And much love to all of my YouTube members and my membership channel family. I'll see you guys soon. Peace and love.